Chapter 459, The Battle of the Ages 5. Chapter 459, The Battle of the Ages 5. What if you count our Shao clan in? A kiddie voice came from behind, followed by an immense aura shrouding over Medical Saint Sect and Xiao clan. There was no slightest attempt to conceal their strong fighting spirit and killing intent. Xiao Ran swept his cold gaze across everyone before him as he ran towards Wang Xian. Master. Wang Xian looked at Xiao Ran with a smile and a nod before he turned to Xiao Quanshan. Xiao clan will only strike once for such a lineup. The baldy Xiao Quanshan grinned as he was slightly relieved upon seeing the people from Sui clan. It was not his idea to take part in this battle of the sacred sects. After all, this was a Saint-class battle. If something went wrong, the entire sacred clan would suffer a huge loss. Too bad he had promised Xiao Ran, that little fellow, that he had the right to mobilize the enforcement elder team in the clan. If he allowed Xiao Ran to bring the dozen-odd elders here, that was as good as seeking death. Hence, he simply brought all the people from Xiao clan here. Uncle Xiao. When the eldest son of Sui Huang spotted the arrival of Xiao clan, his eyes were filled with pleasant surprise. Hurriedly he greeted him. Where's Sui Huang, that old fellow? Asked Xiao Quanshan. My father is abroad and couldn't make it back, the old man replied. Xiao Quanshan, don't tell me the Xiao clan is intervening too. Laozu of Qiao clan spoke in a cold voice as he stared at Xiao Quanshan with a darkened expression. So what if we do? Damn, can't you see we're already here? Xiao Quanshan fired his rage at Laozu of Qiao clan. He looked at the two supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect with wariness. Think this over carefully. If a battle were to break out today, it's a losing end for both parties. 90-odd inborn experts are going to perish over here. Think about it. Xiao clan, are you making an enemy with the Medical Saint Sect? The supreme elder stared daggers at Xiao Quanshan with a frozen face. I'm not scared. Xiao Quanshan widened his mouth. If it's between Xiao clan and Medical Saint Sect, I may have my concerns. But now I have Sui clan and Dragon Sect on the same side. Why should I fear you all? Well. Xiao clan and Sui clan, it looks like you all are going up against the Medical Saint Sect. The supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect was looking menacing. The appearance of Sui clan and Xiao clan had completely disrupted their plans. None of them had expected that the Dragon Sect could invite two sacred clans for assistance. No wonder you dare to be insolent, killing the future successor of our Medical Saint Sect sect master and bragging to us. Radiance flickered in the eyes of the supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect as he stared at the gang before him. Combining three sacred sects, Dragon Sect, Xiao clan and Sui clan, would make more than 90 inborn experts on their side. With one Dan Realm expert, Xiao Quanshan, and the possibility of the Dragon King to be a Dan Realm expert being 80%. They had greater repression with 3 against 2 Dan Realm experts. However, the battle between inborn experts would be a close margin even if they won. Apparently, Laozu of Qiao clan realized this as his expression slowly grimaced. Things had gone far beyond their expectations. With the appearance of Xiao clan and Sui clan, they leveled their overpowering strength. None of them would have thought that the young clan leader of Xiao clan, aka the current youngest inborn expert, would be the disciple of the Dragon King. If a battle were to break out, Qiao clan would receive a huge blow. Towards the end, those surviving inborn experts might not number more than 5. 3 unparalleled experts had a dramatic change in their expressions. They did not dare to act recklessly as the price was too huge to pay. The 2 sect masters of Medical Saint Sect were so infuriated that their bodies trembled. Their enemy was right before their eyes, yet they could not strike under such circumstances. They were clear that the damage of Medical Saint Sect was beyond imagination once they made their moves. They may not lose their sacred status, but a massive loss was guaranteed without a doubt. How is this possible? The experts from the 7 forces, including Wu family, had terror in their eyes. Xiao clan and Sui clan had come to support the Dragon Sect. The legendary clan leader of Xiao clan was the disciple of Dragon King. Even if they could rough it out today, they would only be left with high numbers of casualties. If they did not start the fight today, how could they resist the Dragon Sect when they seek revenge in the future? Unlike Medical Saint Sect or Qiao clan, they were just first-class forces that could not afford to have a sacred sect seeking them out to take revenge. In particular, from such a powerful Dragon Sect. A touch of despair surged in their hearts. Given such a situation now, when a fight was unlikely to break out, they could only dismiss clans, ancestral sects, and run. This was the only way. Dragon King of Dragon Sect, we'll mark this grudge since we have plenty of time ahead, said the two supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect coldly as they glowered at Wang Xian with icy eyes. Without Shao Clan and Sui Clan, the Dragon Sect would be annihilated today. Laozu of Qiao Clan stared daggers at Wang Xian. Oh. Wang Xian looked at them with interest. His face was full of a teasing look. Let's go. The supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect cast a murderous gaze at Wang Xian before they told the disciples behind them this with a twisted expression. Let's go, said Laozu of Qiao Clan with a wry look. Phew. All the disciples heaved a sigh of relief. It would only be a bloodbath today if they really engaged in a battle today. No one could guarantee their survival. Hee hee. Sensing their departing intention, Wang Xian sneered as he lifted his chin slightly. Did I allow you all to go? Her? Did I allow you all to go? All of them were stunned. The supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect, Laozu of Qiao Clan, and the rest of the disciples frowned as they turned around with cold faces. Even the people from Sui Clan and Shao Clan knit their eyebrows together. Shao Quanshan fixed his eyes on Wang Xian with his eyebrows locked. They are not weaker than us in terms of strength. In fact, they might be even stronger than us. Old Shao and people from Sui Clan, the Dragon Sect is very grateful that all of you turned up today. We'll repay the help you rendered to us today in the future. Wang Xian beamed at them. However, since Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan are present today, they don't have to leave anymore. You all can just stay by the side and look. Wang Xian spoke flatly as the Dragonians beside him walked forward. Wang Xian spun around as he fixed his cold eyes on the Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. Since the disciples of Medical Saint Sect dared to ambush me, so what if I kill your disciples? If you're here to annihilate me, then I can only exterminate the Medical Saint Sect in return. As for Qiao Clan, this was your end the moment you accepted the killing order of the Medical Saint Sect. Since you have come all the way here, then none of you shall leave today. Haha. He chuckled as he said, 3 Dan Realm experts with 90 inborn experts. Today all of you will wage a battle with the Dragon Sect. This place will be a grave for all of you. Wang Xian's dominance swept across all of them as a bout of murderous aura loomed over the entire island. Chapter 460, Annihilating Sacred Sects, 1. Chapter 460, Annihilating Sacred Sects, 1. Everyone was stunned and looked in shock and fear at Wang Xian. Shao Quanshan, members of the Shao Clan and Sui Clan were taken by surprise as they looked towards the disciples of the Dragon Sect. Clearly, it was impossible for Dragon Sect to go against the Medical Saint Sect, Qiao Clan and the other forces. Although Dragon Sect had 50 inborn experts that were stronger than the Medical Saint Sect, the coalition of the other parties had 90 inborn experts. Moreover, they had 3 unparalleled experts who had all reached the Dan Realm. Without exaggerating, a Dan Realm expert could deal with 30 to 40 inborn experts alone if he wasn't occupied by another Dan Realm expert. That's the strength and terrifying thing about a Dan Realm expert. With 3 Dan Realm experts as opponents, how was he going to withstand them? What kind of strength would the Dragon Sect need to have to withstand their attacks? Alright. The supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and the Laozu of Qiao Clan stared harshly at Wang Xian. You want to keep us here? In that case we just have to kill all of you. Arrogant brat. Kill him. Frenzied killing intent beamed from the eyes of the 3 unparalleled experts. To keep them forever here and bury them on the island, the only way was to kill them. Kill. Today our Medical Saint Sect will shred you into 1,000,000 pieces. The 2 sect leaders of the Medical Saint Sect growled hideously and instructed their disciples. Kill him and annihilate them. Fires of fury were smoldering in the eyes of the experts from the remaining 7 forces. As long as the Sui Clan and Shao Clan didn't get involved, they had nothing to fear. They were 100% certain that they would roll over the Dragon Sect. Kill? Qiao Clan and the other 7 forces also struck. The immense battle will and killing intent from 90 inborn experts instantly ripped apart the clouds. The ominous clouds in the skies were split in the middle by the terrifying aura and the entire island was shrouded in stifling pressure. The fight is really breaking out. Oh my god. Although we are 7 to 8,000 meters away, we can still feel the stifling aura from that island. That's close to 200 inborn experts. Now that they are clashing, it will be catastrophic. This is too frightening. I really did not expect the fight to break out with both parties having relatively equal strength. I wonder how many will be dead at the end of this battle. At the beach, several thousand martial artists awaited the outcome. The terrifying and stifling pressure from the island made everyone shiver. That's the pressure from over 100 inborn experts and several unparalleled experts. Everyone was fearful. If any level 8 or 9 martial artists were to approach the area, they would probably be suffocated by the stifling pressure. The terrifying aura and the killing intent over the island shocked everyone. Kill? On the island, Wuxia looked towards the 1,000-odd people from Medical Saint Sect, Xiao Clan and the 7 other forces. Ruthlessness gleamed in his eyes as he shouted loudly. Kill? Devilish aura shot into the sky from the crowd of Dragonians. The aura from 50 Dragonians gathered together and a devilish dragon could be vaguely seen circling in the sky. Sisin-La Qingyu enchant us. Let my master and I go teach those 2 old fools a lesson. Xiao Yu looked to Lan Qingyue and was eager to give it a go. All right. Lan Qingyue smiled and nodded her head. As she waved her arm, a stream of grayish mist gathered around Xiao Yu and Elder Fong. When the stream of grayish mist entered into the body of Xiao Yu and Elder Fong, their aura exploded exponentially in an instant. A black and grayish aura circled around them and horrifying energy was leaking out of their bodies. Deathly violent, dark. So strong. Elder Fong was shocked to feel the strength flowing in her body. Her current self could totally match herself in the skeletal dragon form. Let the 3 of us finish those 3 old fools. Lan Qingyue said with a smile as her body slowly levitated towards the sky. All right. Xiao Yu nodded her head in excitement. Ka. Behind each of their bodies, 2 skeletal wings extended out. As Xiao Yu and Elder Fong wiggled their wings, they flew towards the supreme elders from the Medical Saint Sect and Laozu of Qiao Clan together with Lan Qingyue. What? When the crowd from Sui Clan and Xiao Clan saw Xiao Yu and the other 2 girls charging towards the 3 unparalleled experts, they were both shocked and surprised. The energies they are emitting from their bodies are terrifying. Xiao Quanshan stared fervently at Xiao Yu, Lan Qingyue and Elder Fong. It was especially so for Lan Qingyue. From her, he felt an aura that sent a chill down his spine. The grayish energy was terrifying. That girl has reached the Dan realm. Xiao Quanshan's eyes were filled with disbelief. His eyes widened and stared blankly at Lan Qingyue. The legacy of the ancient god Kuan breeder is really insane. Looking at Lan Qingyue, Wang Xian was shocked. This was the first time Lan Qingyue fought. The greatest strength of the ancient god Kuan breeder wasn't in her battling capacity. Instead, it was in her ability to breed Kuan and supporting others. The ancient god Kuan breeder could substantially increase the strength of her Kuan. She could also release strong enchantments to strengthen the rest. Just like how it was currently, Xiao Yu, Elder Fong and Lan Qingyue were connected by a grayish stream of energy in the sky. Xiao Yu and Elder Fong's strength was increased to the level of their skeletal dragon form directly and they could go against Dan realm experts. As for Lan Qingyue, who could increase the strength of others, her true battling strength wasn't something that ordinary Dan realm experts could withstand. 3 little brats are challenging us. The supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect and Laozu of Qiao Clan felt insulted as they saw the 3 girls charging towards them. However, they were shocked and in disbelief when they felt the heart-wrenching aura from them. You must be courting death. Killing intent flashed in the minds of the supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and Laozu of Qiao Clan. A supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect waved both of his jade-green arms and dropped seeds onto the ground. Ka. As his arms glowed in a jade-green light, the seeds that had fallen onto the ground grew at a frantic speed to the astonishment of everyone. In an instant, several brambles grew to the size of over a few tens of meters tall. These trees resembled tree demons as they waved their branches, which were rough and full of thorns. As for the other supreme elder from the Medical Saint Sect, purplish flames emitted from his body and raged to over 10 meters tall. Dang. A space filled with metal attribute energy appeared around the Laozu from Qiao Clan. Razor-sharp and invisible blades made of metal energy circled a radius of 10 meters around him at all times. Any creature that entered this space would be instantly killed. That was the terrifying thing about Dan realm experts. They could coalesce energy around their bodies, shape them and release attacks that covered the entire region. Every action was just like a superpower. Compliments of the light. Rage and roar. At this moment, Sun Lingxiu and Guan Shuqing shouted from the ground. Rays of light covered all 50 Dragonians. The light did not disperse the darkness. On the contrary, the light was protecting the darkness. Chapter 461, Annihilating Sacred Sects 2. Chapter 461, Annihilating Sacred Sects 2. At this moment, a flaming fowl appeared above Guan Shuqing's head. The flaming fowl was about 5 meters in size, exuding a boiling temperature. Boom boom. Every flap of the blazing wings fired flaming feathers at Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan. Each of the flames was dark red, and the temperature was terrifyingly high as they were almost comparable to the heavenly flame. Yet, the flaming feathers on the flaming fowl were shrouding crazily over the place ahead. Boom boom. At this time, 50 Dragonians and the experts from Medical Saint Sect, Qiao clan, and 7 forces went head-on together instantly. The Dragonians were like emotionless killing machines. The scary demonic aura exuded sent chills to everyone as soon as they engaged. Go to hell. The 5 half-step to Dan realm experts from Qiao clan and Medical Saint Sect charged at the Dragonians with murderous intent on their faces. Boom. The weeds on the ground were growing madly as they attempted to entangle Dragonians, bursting flames at Dragonians. With the sharp energy at the peak, they wielded at Dragonians. This was the combat of experts, which was different from those battles with cold weapons in ancient times. A battle which involved a mere 1,000-odd people seemed like a war for 1,000,000 people. The offense was so powerful that it was unbelievable. What? That's a strong defense of light. As Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan charged at the Dragonians for the first head-on collision, they were being interrupted instantly by bright defense energy with a glimmer of embarrassment in their eyes. Roar. Go to hell. The beast-like bellow came from the Dragonians as they struck forward with their half-meter, scary dragon claws. Arg arg. Before the Dragonians could even make their attacks, there were moaning and despairing shrieks from behind. All the experts from Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan were stunned. Some of them craned their necks when they saw the tails of the dense flaming feathers enveloping the people at the back like some missiles. The experts present today were not only the inborn experts but also thousands of inborn and below. Yet those experts who were below inborn level could not resist the daunting flaming feathers a bit. The dense and terrifying flaming feathers pierced through the martial artists easily. What a domineering flaming feather. How can an inborn expert have enough energy to fire hundreds of flaming feathers in one go? Some of the experts cast their attention ahead with an incredulous look in their eyes. Light shield on. Just then, everyone heard a soft yell again. Some of them spotted a beautiful and holy goddess spitting out an illuminating pearl from her mouth behind them. The illuminating pearl suspended itself in the air as beams of light shrouded the disciples of Dragon Sect. That strong light defense could only be penetrated by a full blow from an inborn expert. As someone who had inherited the light divine dragon's legacy, Sun Lingxiu had the supreme class origin source constitution. Her talent was not any weaker than a divine dragon. Given that she had advanced to half-step to Dan realm, it was a breeze for her to display a variety of her light energy. On top of that, the defense she released was empowered by the illuminating pearl, such that even inborn experts had to strike with their full power. And that was the case when her defense was thinly spread across a vast area. If she were only shielding one person, even half-step to Dan realm expert would find it hard to bring it down. Arg. Another devastating cry was heard from one of the inborn experts of Qiao clan as the terrifying dragon claws of Mo Yuan pierced through the body of an inborn expert. As soon as the battle began, the first inborn expert was killed. Arg. Soon after, another 2 inborn experts let out shrieks. All of them were coming from Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan. Kill that girl and shoot that illuminating pearl in the air down, a half-step to Dan realm expert cried out with slight changes in his expression when he heard the screams. Kill her. We've got almost double the inborn experts. Another inborn expert bellowed. About 5 inborn experts made a swift move and slashed the illuminating pearl in the air. Aurora. Sun Lingxiu remained unwavering as her hand flicked. The illuminating pearl gave off beams of light that were like endless aurora lights that pierced through 5 inborn experts. Arg arg. As Aurora passed through, another 5 screams were heard. Upon hearing the screams, all the people from Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan could not control the sudden tremor in their hearts. In less than a minute, 8 inborn experts had been killed. Yet, no one from the Dragon Sect had died. The daunting light defense and the mighty physical defense of those people from the Dragon Sect struck fear into the rest. Their individual strength differed by too much. "Xiao Longchuan, you pin that girl down while I take down that illuminating pearl," a half-step to Dan realm expert shouted with a twisted expression. "Got it? Slash them." With a furious roar, an old man whose hand was holding onto a sword hundreds of meters away slashed at Sun Lingxiu. Boom boom. 100-meter-long crack ran up the island by the sword, radiance condensed from the metal as it was wielded at Sun Lingxiu. Bam. Wang Xian swung his arm and shattered the 3-meter metal blade shadows. Buzz. Wang Xian opened the golden ivory fan in his hand. As soon as he closed it again with a single hand, the metal fan darted out to that half-step to Dan realm expert of Qiao clan. The metal fan was giving off a radiant glow that was dazzling. What? As soon as Qiao Longchuan of Qiao clan noticed that fan, his expression had a massive change. The sword was giving off a searing golden glow as he wielded it at the golden fan. Ka. Arg. The sword was broken and the man was dead. With a shriek, the first half-step to Dan realm expert perished. He's dead. The half-step to Dan realm expert perished. That Dragon King is too compelling. Besides, the disciples of Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan watched with traces of fear in their eyes. Generally, half-step to Dan realm experts only existed in sacred sects. Every one of them was domineering. They were the supreme rulers in the underworld if none of the Laosis of the various clans and forces were around. Yet, one had died in this battle of the sacred sects. Moreover, he was easily killed by the Dragon King of the Dragon Sect. This Dragon King must be at Dan realm. However, such a Dan realm expert had only stood there watching in silence. On top of that, 3 ladies had already pinned down their Laozu and supreme elders altogether 1,000 meters above the sea. In the air, the deity-like Laozu was completely contained. Those under inborn existences at the back were fleeing in panic under the frenzied attack of that flaming fowl. Nobody dared to look for the girls who were releasing light and flame, as there stood the Dragon King of the Dragon Sect. That half-step to Dan realm from just now had marked the consequences for attacking the girls. A tinge of fear surged in the hearts of all the people from Medical Saint Sect, Qiao clan, and the 7 forces. Chapter 462, Annihilating Sacred Sects, 3. Chapter 462, Annihilating Sacred Sects, 3. How can this be? They are too strong and frightening. At this very moment, the group from the Sui clan looked on in horror at the battles developing before their eyes from the side. In just a few minutes, 8 inborn experts had died from the Medical Saint Sect, Qiao clan and the other 7 forces. There was even 1 half-step to Dan realm expert that had perished. What was most shocking were the performances of the few girls. In the sky, 3 incredibly young girls were going against the supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and the Laozu from the Qiao clan. Their terrifying strength enabled them to go toe-to-toe with the Dan realm unparalleled experts. It was especially so for the girl in the middle. The faint grayish energy was completely overwhelming the supreme elder from the Hua family of Medical Saint Sect. His brambles were withering rapidly within the grayish energy. Even one of his jade-green arms was withering gradually within the grayish energy. Incomparably frightening. After which, it would be the disciple of their Laozu. This 20-year-old little girl was standing there with a firebird circling above her head. Wave after wave of terrifying flaming feathers was shot towards the enemies. She did not stop at all for a few minutes. Every flaming feather was like a terrifying bomb. Before her, a 7 to 8 meter hole appeared on the island. Those that were injured or killed by the flaming feathers numbered several hundreds of people. Those who hadn't reached the inborn realm couldn't withstand the flaming feathers at all. Little junior sister seems to have endless fire attribute energy. She hasn't stopped at all while constantly releasing highly explosive attacks. Moreover, she doesn't look fatigued at all. It's no surprise that our father wanted to take her in as a disciple. She's frightening. Yeah, she's really incredible. Under sufficient protection, her destructive powers could even match 10 inborn experts. It's no surprise that Grandpa wanted her as a disciple. She's insane and too demon-like. It's not just little junior sister who seems like a demon. All the girls around the Dragon King are exceptionally powerful. 3 of them are even going toe-to-toe against 3 Dan realm experts. The crowd from the Sui clan was astonished. I can now understand why he asked our Shao clan and Sui clan to stay away. With such incredible strength, only Donghua Sacred Sect could match them. The crowd from the Xiao clan and their Laozu were stunned and in awe of the battle. They looked at Guan Shuqing, Lan Qingyue and the girls before turning to their young clan leader. Only the Dragon King could raise such terrifying existences. It's our young clan leader's greatest blessing to meet the Dragon King. Incredible. Xiao Quanshan, who had been standing by the side, was in awe. He looked to the three girls in the air and his eyes were flickering. Who are the three girls fighting with the supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and the Laozu of Qiao clan? That's what a battle between immortals would look like. The battle between unparalleled experts could split the sky and destroy the earth. The battle is 1,000 meters above the sea. That giant tree swaying, flashes of golden rays, purplish flames torching the skies and devilish aura shooting through the skies are what one should expect for the battles between unparalleled experts. At the beach, the crowd of martial artists looked up at the 6 black dots in the sky. Battle of the Ages. That's what a battle of the ages should resemble. They could hear every homing attack and explosion clearly. What the hell is that grayish energy? At this moment, the supreme elder from the Hua family of Medical Saint Sect stared at Lan Qingyue with one of his arms trembling. One of his jade-green arms had withered and lost all signs of life. As for the other arm, it was also exceptionally dull. The brambles that spanned over several tens of meters and were hovering in the sky were supported by his powerful strength. However, the brambles had lost all signs of life. It was over 10 times harder to control than usual. Bam, bam, bam. A short distance away, purplish flames and devilish aura clashed. As the supreme elder from the Medical Saint Sect swung his arm, the purplish flames within a 100-meter radius swept towards Xiaoyu. At this moment, Xiaoyu was on the defensive. Her wings were behind her and she was releasing devilish aura towards the purple flames. On the other end, Elder Fong was surrounded in the space filled with metal energy. Countless invisible blades made of metal energy flew and attacked her. As the invisible metal blades grazed by her, they left faint marks on her armor. What a terrifying defense. The toughness of their black armor is too strong. When the Laozu from Qiao clan slashed down with his long sword on the wings of Elder Fong, he could only knock her back 100 meters, but could not break through her defense. This made him incomparably bitter. However, other than the supreme elder from the Hua family of Medical Saint Sect, the other two had the upper hand. Arg. At this juncture, endless pitiful cries reverberated from below. The three of them looked down and anger instantly fumed in their eyes. The elite disciples of the Medical Saint Sect and the Qiao clan had over 90% of their strength all gathered there. And now there were several hundred corpses below them. Incessant pitiful cries came from the disciples of their sacred clan and sacred sect. They saw the Dragon King of the Dragon Sect swinging his golden fan towards the half-step to Dan realm experts. After a few wretched cries, all the half-step to Dan realm experts were killed. After the few elite experts were killed, Mo Qinglong led the Dragonians and killed over 10 inborn experts in an instant. In the air, the supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and the Laozu of Qiao clan shivered in anger. Anger and sorrows filled their faces. Dragon Sect, you will perish here. A supreme elder from the Medical Saint Sect roared furiously. Purplish flames welled up from all parts of his body and swarmed towards Xiaoyu. This is bad. Xiaoyu was caught by surprise and could only fly higher into the sky. However, Xiaoyu was astonished to find that his target wasn't her. The supreme elder of the Medical Saint Sect descended from the sky like a meteor towards the Dragonians. It's your Medical Saint Sect that will perish. A dull gold light glowed in Wang Xian's eyes as he saw the supreme elder from the Medical Saint Sect getting ready to attack and kill the Dragonians. Today this will be the burial site for the Medical Saint Sect and the Qiao clan. No one is getting away. As he spoke, he moved and charged towards the Dan realm expert covered in purplish flames. Little crook. Even if I have to sacrifice this old life of mine, I'll annihilate all of you. A purplish light beamed from the eyes of the supreme elder from Medical Saint Sect and his eyes turned red. You are thinking too highly of yourself. Wang Xian moved and appeared before him instantly as a ray of dull gold light. Die. A golden dragon claw appeared and ripped towards the supreme elder from the Medical Saint Sect. Thinking of killing me? The supreme elder of the Medical Saint Sect condensed the purplish flames around him together. The temperature was so high that the flames appeared black. The dull purplish flames turned into a beast and pounced towards Wang Xian. Roar. The The cry of a wild beast reverberated. The next moment, the golden dragon claw held the beast by the neck and ripped it apart. Without a loss in momentum, Wang Xian continued his charge towards the supreme elder of the medical saint sect. Boom. The golden dragon claw penetrated and split the body into two. An unparalleled expert had fallen. Chapter 463 Pilgrimage 1. Chapter 463 Pilgrimage 1. Splatters. The drizzle had since turned into a downpour and was kept out of the imposing island. At this moment, however, heavy rain began to pour on the island. The island was dead silent. All of the experts from Medical Saint Sect, Qiao Clan, and the Seven Forces halted their actions. They were horrified as they gazed ahead. Nobody had expected such a situation in just a brief moment of the frightening collision at that location. The pouring rain showered them with chills. No. How is this possible? How can it be? Disbelief and fearful voices resounded in the air, cutting the moment of silence. The sect master of Medical Saint Sect widened his eyes as he could not trust his eyes when he spotted the corpse on the floor. That was the Laozu of Bian family. He was also an unparalleled expert, one of the pillars of Medical Saint Sect. However, he was instantly killed in that moment of collision. A Dan realm expert and an unparalleled expert were lying motionless on the floor. The blow seemed to have brought them into hell. An unparalleled expert was struck down with one stroke. He's the unparalleled expert. How can this be happening? Even the supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect was killed. The people from Seven Forces revealed desperate looks in their eyes. They spun and looked around when they saw their clan disciples and comrades were already down by half. Yet, there was not even a single death for the Dragon Sect, only 5 wounded ones who had been taken out of the battlefield for treatment. Thrashing. An utter thrashing. In particular in the battle of unparalleled experts. The 3 girls from the Dragon Sect were able to withstand the attacks of the 2 supreme elders of Medical Saint Sect and the Laozu of Qiao Clan. Now, the Dragon King of the Dragon Sect killed another unparalleled expert with one blow again. A strike, a kill. And an unparalleled expert had fallen. Kill? Wang Xian let out a soft bellow with a frozen face when he looked at the supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect, who was being torn apart. Kill? Mo Qinglong let out a yell and rushed to Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan for a kill. The demonic aura mixing with the fresh blood of enemies had turned the island into a living hell. No. We surrender. No. As soon as the people from the Seven Forces witnessed the death of the unparalleled experts, they began to break down. Even the unparalleled expert of Medical Saint Sect was killed. How far could they run? It was absolutely wishful thinking. Given the current strength of the Dragon Sect, Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan were utterly finished. Even they brought unparalleled experts here, they were fated to stay on that island. Why is the Dragon Sect so formidable? Yet, surrendering and despairing only sped up their deaths. Within seconds, another inborn expert was struck down. After losing the half-step to Dan Realm expert, there were no experts from Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan who could fight with Mo Qinglong and the rest. The one-sided massacre had begun. No. Old Bien. Another supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect's shrill roar cut through the air. Wang Xian craned his neck with a cold expression as he looked at the supreme elder of Medical Saint Sect and Laozu of Qiao Clan. I told you this place would be the burial ground of Medical Saint Sect. From today onwards, there will be no more Medical Saint Sect and Qiao Clan. Wang Xian made a move and appeared in the air. Xiaoyu, Elder Fang, Lan Qingyue, and finally, Wang Xian surrounded Laozu of Qiao Clan and Supreme Elder of Medical Saint Sect in the center. When you decided to turn up, didn't you think of such consequences? Asked Wang Xian with a beaming smile as he stared at him coldly. Our Medical Saint Sect has been established for more than 300 years. Little did we expect it would be destroyed in our hands. The Supreme Elder of Medical Saint Sect trembled as malevolence surfaced on his face. But Dragon King, don't be insolent. Someone will avenge us. Someone. Haha, the time will come soon for the Dragon Sect to be wiped out. Hysterics filled his voice as he chortled. A tinge of fear surged within the eyes of Laozu of Qiao Clan as he scanned for his chance to flee. Wipe the Dragon Sect out? I'll wipe the Medical Saint Sect out first. Coldness flashed in Wang Xian's eyes as he made a move instantaneously. Xiaoyu, Elder Fang, and Lan Qingyue followed suit. There was no chance to flee even for the unparalleled experts in the face of the absolute thrashing strength. Death shrouded them in a brief moment. Be it air or land, the battle of sacred sects had arrived at the final stage. Endless screams resounded. The desperate cries left the island reeking of blood. Disciples of Medical Saint Sect perished one by one, and so it was with the disciples of Chao clan. The experts of 7 forces had already collapsed onto the floor a long time ago. Slowly the screams on the island could not be heard. Bam! When the 2 figures in the air plunged onto the island, it marked the end of the battle of the sacred sects. Medical Saint Sect annihilated. Chao clan annihilated. The 2 Saint-class forces were gone from the underworld. The crowd from Sui clan and Shao clan were dumbfounded by what they had seen. Then they swept their gazes across all the people from the Dragon Sect. The almost invincible Dragon King, an insane group of girls, and the terrifying disciples of the Dragon Sect. Gulp. They swallowed their saliva with cold sweat breaking out on their foreheads. Given their current dominating power, the Dragon Sect could annihilate them like a piece of cake, let alone Medical Saint Sect and Shao clan. Damn, only when old Sui and I combined forces could we manage to fight him with his current strength. Xiao Quanshan stared at Wang Xian with a somber expression. By bringing down the Supreme Elder of Medical Saint Sect in a move, Wang Xian had struck a massive impact on him. That was the unparalleled expert who he killed in a single blow. He knew that only one person could achieve that in the past, the invincible fellow, Nie Wuxia of Donghua Sacred Sect. Now a young 20-year-old fellow did the same thing too. He was extremely envious and shocked. Announce to the underworld to come for pilgrimage tomorrow, said Wang Xian to Emo Qinglong as he scanned the bodies on the floor. Yes. Emo Qinglong looked at the bodies and revealed a smile. Old Xiao and the rest from Sui clan, thank you for coming over here. Now that we have resolved our matters, we need to settle some of our issues. If all of you aren't leaving yet, you can stay at our place to enjoy yourself for a few days. Wang Xian looked at Xiao Quanshan and the rest of the people from Sui clan with a beaming face. Haha, it's impossible to leave at this time. Tomorrow will be the day of the pilgrimage. We will be here to support you. I don't think you'd mind, would you? Xiao Quanshan grinned as he spoke to Wang Xian. Sure, you're most welcome. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. Great, see you tomorrow. Let's go. Xiao Quanshan waved his dismissal as he made a swift move as he left the island. The people from Sui clan cupped their fists at Wang Xian and left subsequently. On the Underworld Forum, the Dragon Sect had released a message. Medical Saint Sect annihilated. Chao clan annihilated. Chapter 464, Pilgrimage 2. Chapter 464, Pilgrimage 2. The people of the Shao clan and Sui clan are here. Has it ended? Has it ended? It should have. Those incessant cries are really giving me goosebumps. Those were the cries of inborn experts. At the beach, the crowd of martial artists stared in shock at the group from Shao clan and Sui clan moving rapidly towards them. A while ago they had heard wretched cry after cry clearly from the island. They had heard the angry and desperate roar from the skies. And eventually the cries gradually died down. Those angry and wretched screams from before seemed to be from the supreme elders of the Medical Saint Sect and the people from the Chao clan. Could it be that these sacred sects have really been annihilated? Sacred sects are annihilated? SSS. The crowd gasped and stared fervently at the approaching people from the Sui clan and Shao clan. 40 to 50 of them got closer and closer. One young man mustered his courage and asked loudly, Seniors, may I ask about the situation of the island? What's the outcome? Medical Saint Sect, Chao clan and everyone else were annihilated. Get ready for the pilgrimage tomorrow. An old man glanced at them plainly and replied solemnly. What? Everyone was dumbfounded and their eyes widened in disbelief. However, the people from the Shao clan and Sui clan did not elaborate and left immediately. Medical Saint Sect, Chao clan and the other 7 forces were annihilated. Could it be that the Shao clan and Sui clan participated in the battle previously? However, from their appearances, there's no signs of bloodstain on them. From the moment I saw 2 figures falling to the ground and heard the loud scream, I knew that Medical Saint Sect and Chao clan might be finished. However, I couldn't convince myself. Now that I have heard it with my own ears, it still feels a little impossible. 3 unparalleled experts. We are talking about 3 unparalleled experts. All of them have fallen by the hands of the Dragon Sect. How terrifying is the Dragon Sect? Everyone, take a look at the Underworld website. There's an account that is most likely belonging to the Dragon Sect. They have made an announcement declaring that the Medical Saint Sect and the Qiao clan have been annihilated. They also told everyone to get ready for the pilgrimage. They were really annihilated. 2 sacred sects have been erased from the underworld. The Dragon Sect is insanely strong. In the battle earlier, Sui clan and Xiao clan probably fought too. Otherwise, I couldn't believe that the Dragon Sect could annihilate 2 sacred sects. At the beach, a crowd of astonished people were discussing fervently. In the underworld, this incident had also stirred a huge ruckus. The annihilation of sacred sects. Moreover, 2 sacred sects were destroyed. This was something that could shake the entire underworld. Before the battle, everyone could see the terrifying strength of the coalition between Medical Saint Sect and the Qiao clan. Close to 100 inborn experts and 3 unparalleled experts. In the face of this strength, any force would have to kneel. Even if that force was a sacred sect. However, close to 100 inborn experts were all dead now. The Sui clan and Xiao clan definitely played a part. Otherwise, with the strength of the Medical Saint Sect and Xiao clan, how could the Dragon Sect annihilate them so easily? 2 sacred sects against 3. Although it is shocking that they were annihilated, it isn't impossible. 100 inborn experts have been killed. The strength of the underworld has decreased substantially. 2 sacred sects have been erased from the underworld and the Dragon Sect has risen. After this incident, the Dragon Sect has completely stabilized its footing in the underworld. The annihilation of the Medical Saint Sect and Qiao clan was like an earthquake in the underworld. When the other sacred sects and clans heard the news, they also couldn't remain composed for a long time. The death of 3 unparalleled experts. At that time, although the Sui clan and Xiao clan were present, Sui Huang wasn't there. In other words, only the Laozu of Xiao clan was there. The Dragon Sect would at least have 2 Dan realm experts. Based on the information gathered by the people at the beach, it's beyond doubt that the Dragon Sect had at least 2 Dan realm experts. Various sacred sects and clans obtained reports from different places. All the higher management of these sects and clans had gathered to discuss the incident. The annihilation of 2 Saint-class forces warranted their closest attention. After all, most of the Saint-class forces weren't even as strong as the Medical Saint Sect. They wanted to analyze the strength of the Dragon Sect to come out with an action plan. The Dragon Sect has risen. Send some gifts over tomorrow. The sacred sect, Dragon Sect, has a strength that ranks among the top 3 or 4 sacred sects. Instruct our guys to send some gifts over tomorrow. Don't ever offend the disciples of the Dragon Sect in the future. Sui clan, Xiao clan and the Dragon Sect are definitely on really good terms. Different messages came from various sacred sects. The Dragon Sect had dominantly annihilated 2 sacred sects. Although this might be largely because of the aid from the Xiao clan and Sui clan, it was still enough to command fear and respect. While the sacred sects were hesitating, they still sent their guys to bring gifts for the pilgrimage. Within the underworld, various families and sects were astonished to see this piece of news. A sacred sect that shot to the peak by stepping on the corpses of a sacred sect, a sacred clan and 7 first-class forces was sufficient for them to hold in high regard. As a newly crowned sacred sect, the Dragon Sect would require them to express goodwill and pay pilgrimage to them. That was despite the fact that many families and ancestral sects didn't have high opinions of Dragon Sect in the past. Some even believed that the Dragon Sect would be annihilated. Regardless, they had to be respectful towards a fast-rising Dragon Sect. All the powerful families and sects in the underworld were mobilized as they prepared gifts and made their way to Rivertown. It wasn't that they would be targeted if they didn't go for the pilgrimage. However, the birth of a Saint-class force and the rise of a powerful sect was worthwhile for them to head over and express goodwill. If their disciples were to offend the sacred sect carelessly in the future, the sacred sect might let them off because of their current decision. The pilgrimage was dependent on the strength of a sacred sect. When the Flame Palace had announced their ascension to be a sacred sect previously, only the sects and families in 3 to 4 provinces headed to the pilgrimage. However, the Flame Palace was a far cry from the current Dragon Sect. Dragon Sect could make it to the top 5 of all Saint-class forces just from the strength they displayed in the annihilation of Medical Saint Sect and the Qiao clan. 10,000 sects paying pilgrimage. Wang Xian wasn't aware of the happenings in the underworld. He summoned Mo Qinglong and Mo Yuan over and immediately headed to the old nests of the Medical Saint sect and the Qiao clan. Since they had annihilated the Medical Saint sect and the Qiao clan, the treasures that belonged to them were naturally theirs for the taking. I should have sent the Dragonians over in advance. Most of the treasures left behind were probably shifted away by others by now. Wang Xian shook his head in disappointment because of his miscalculation. Wah! Brother, there are lots of forces congratulating us on the establishment of the Dragon sect. Among them there were several Saint-class forces. Xiaoyu was scrolling through her phone in the villa and shouted loudly. However, she soon pouted. Just a day ago they were still saying we would be annihilated. There will probably be lots of forces coming tomorrow. At that time, I'll participate as the sect leader of the Thistles and Thorns sect. Xiaoyu remarked loudly. Lan Qingyue, Guan Shuqing and Sun Lingxiu chuckled by her side. They sat there demurely and looked like goddesses. Chapter 465 Pilgrimage 3. Chapter 465, Pilgrimage 3. Wow, there are many people. Yes, it's way too much. Look over there. It's Xingling's sect. That is the Dark sect. Over there is Imperial Beast sect. Gosh, many sacred sects are here today. At least 5,000 people were heading to that island on the following morning. Those people came from various ancestral sects and clans, in which some were formidable sacred sects and sacred clans. All these dominating forces embarked on a trip to the island on their vessels. All the clans and sects were in awe when they stood on their vessels. As they scanned the surroundings, they had only astonishment on their faces. Too many clans and ancestral sects came from the underworld. On top of that, all of them were formidable ones. Those second tier and below were not qualified to attend. At least more than a score of first-class forces and 6 Saint-class forces were present. Over 100 vessels steered towards the island. That's spectacular. Let's go over there too. At the seaside, a group of more than 30 people came on a vessel, following another vessel to the island. Congratulations to Thistles and Thorns sect. Sect leader Tang, congratulations to Thistles and Thorns sect that has upgraded to a first-class sect. I'm so happy for you. Sect leader Tang, I really envy you guys. While they were heading towards the island, the martial artists beside their vessels spotted them. Immediately they congratulated sect leader Tang with envy. The group of more than 30 people was from Thistles and Thorns sect. It was an honor for them to be here today. Seeing those powerful forces who he used to look up to, congratulating them fervently with envy, everyone from Thistles and Thorns sect was proud and thrilled. It's just a stroke of luck. I will not be the sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect anymore in the future. I'm getting old and it's time to give up my seat. Haha, said sect leader Tang to the surrounding people with a beaming face as he cupped his fists. It's more than just luck. The surrounding forces looked at Thistles and Thorns sect with envy since the sister of the Dragon King was a disciple of Thistles and Thorns sect. She would be taking over the sect leader role in the future. From now on, who would dare to provoke Thistles and Thorns sect with the Dragon King and Dragon sect around? So long as the Dragon sect was around, Thistles and Thorns sect would have nothing to worry about. This was what many of the first-class forces envied. It's right in front of another island. I heard it's a floating island. The legendary floating island, aka an ancient wonderland. The group of forces on the vessel were envious when they saw the beautiful island in spring colors. The floating island was able to travel freely in the ocean. Given such a base camp, it was a treasure that every force yearned. All of them looked over and spotted 4 Dragon sect experts standing at the entrance of the island. Mo Yuan was there to receive them. Compared to the pilgrimage of Flame Palace not long ago, this pilgrimage far exceeds the Flame Palace, said one of the sect leaders of ancestral sects who went for the Flame Palace's pilgrimage with a slight exclaim. Back then, only 4 to 5 first-class forces had attended the pilgrimage of Flame Palace. None of the sacred sects had turned up. Yet, almost 70% of the first-class forces from the underworld would be attending the pilgrimage of Dragon sect this time. Many of the sacred sects and sacred clans were here too. Dragon King, these are the things we got from Medical Saint sect and Qiao clan. Back in the hall of the floating island, the entire island was undergoing construction. Only a few temporary buildings were done. So little? Seeing the items before him, Wang Xian frowned as he shook his head in disappointment. When we arrived at the Medical Saint sect and Qiao clan, they had all the things moved. Even the spiritual grasses in their herb garden were pulled out. They even smashed the things that they were unable to take away, Mo Qinglong replied with bitterness. He cast his sights on the big alchemy furnace in the center and said, "This alchemy furnace is considered to be the most precious thing in the medical saint sect." Wang Xian nodded as he observed the 2-meter alchemy furnace. The entire furnace was purple in color, which looked extremely prestigious. Lilac Mist Alchemy Furnace. Level 10. Contains purplish heavenly flame. A level 10 alchemy furnace can refine level 10 elixir pills. This alchemy furnace should be one of the most precious treasures in medical saint sect. Wang Xian looked at the alchemy furnace with a glimmer of surprise. This trip proved to be worthwhile given this alchemy furnace. This alchemy furnace was extremely heavy for anyone, even for inborn experts, to carry. Besides, it was durable. Hence, it was left behind by them, said Mo Qinglong. Wang Xian nodded. Set the furnace in a room and make it an elixir refining room. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong nodded and continued, most of the forces who are here for the pilgrimage have arrived. Let's go over. Wang Xian nodded, revealing a smile at the corner of his lips. As he moved to the site for pilgrimage, Wang Xian already spotted some of the formidable forces waiting on the island. Seeing the arrival of Wang Xian, everyone cast their gaze over with surprise, shock, and admiration. Greetings to the Dragon King. Greetings to the Dragon King. As soon as he arrived, one of them went over to Wang Xian and greeted him respectfully. The remaining people from the rest of the forces greeted Wang Xian with their fists cupped. This greeting was a form of respect to an expert and, at the same time, a form of respect to a sect master who had established a sacred sect. Thank you all for coming. Seeing all the forces standing before him with awe, Wang Xian revealed a smile and said, At Dragon Sect, we'll not seek anyone's trouble unless someone provokes us. We only have 50 disciples in Dragon Sect, but they follow the same rules when they roam the underworld. As such, I hope we can live in harmony. Wang Xian laughed as he spoke. He swept his gaze across everyone. However, we will not give up any resources in the underworld. Till then, strength will determine. His words sounded mild and, at the same time, expressed the attitude Dragon Sect would adopt in the future. All the surrounding forces heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. Before the establishment of the Dragon Sect, the Dragon King was notorious in the underworld for countless killings. They were terrified that the Dragon Sect would act overbearing and barbarous. As for the resources in the underworld, it was a common thing. Competing for the treasures in the underworld based on strength would not invite any complaints. Dragon King is magnanimous. Shengling Sect is willing to get along with Dragon Sect. Several of our seniors here are representing Shengling Sect to deliver some congratulatory gifts to Dragon Sect. An old man from Shengling Sect smiled and cupped his fist to Wang Xian. Subsequently, he beckoned to the back. Making a tribute was, of course, the way to express the friendliness from Shengling Sect. After Shengling Sect, the various sacred sects also sent their gifts. As for those first-class forces, they paid tribute with all kinds of spiritual grasses and treasures. Wang Xian received them with a face full of smiles. This is the true blue pilgrimage. Shao clan and Sui clan were sitting by the side, watching it with beaming faces. Her? Suddenly, the eldest son of Sui Huang, sitting in the middle, had an abrupt change in his expression when he received a message from a disciple. What? Did you say something happened to your father? His eyes were wide with panic. Uncle, Grandpa is seriously injured now. Old Huang of Sacred Followers Guild is now with our clan with severe injuries too. Chapter 466 Sui Huang's Injuries. Chapter 466 Sui Huang's Injuries. What? Wang Xian looked surprised by the oldest son of Sui Huang. Sui Huang is severely injured? With Sui Huang's strength, there are few who can severely injure him in the entire underworld. How did Sui Huang get injured? Wang Xian asked with a frown. I don't know. Father has been overseas over this period. I have no idea as to how he got injured either. Dragon King, our Sui clan will have to leave now, said the oldest son of Sui Huang. Currently, the Sui family didn't have a second unparalleled expert. Sui Huang was the sole pillar of the entire Sui clan. If he were to get into trouble, it would be a destructive blow to the entire Sui clan. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before answering him. I'll go back with you guys in a while. Thank you, Dragon King. The oldest son of Sui Huang nodded his head. What? Xiaoxian? You are saying my master is severely injured? After the pilgrimage had been going for about half an hour, Wang Xian brought Guan Shuqing along and followed the rest of the Sui family members back to Shangjing. We're going to take a look. Wang Xian nodded his head. How could this? Master said he was heading overseas to get me some art of cultivation. How would he be injured? Said Guan Shuqing, who was clearly anxious. He will be fine. Don't worry about that. Wang Xian consoled Guan Shuqing and shook his head at her. Sui Huang had been away for some time to look for cultivation arts for Guan Shuqing. He had not expected him to return with severe injuries. Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing followed the members of the Sui family and rushed back to Sui clan on a helicopter. Let's go. We will head back right away. When the experts of Sui clan got off the helicopter, they didn't hesitate at all as they took flight and flew towards the sacred mountain. Their Laozu getting into trouble was a huge matter for them. Great-grandpa. How's father doing now? What really happened? The group of experts from Sui clan asked in a hurry. His injuries are severe. Old Huang is inside and administering treatment to Laozu. He asked us to wait for him here. An old man said bitterly to the group. With master's strength, how would he be injured? How would he be injured? Guan Shuqing asked anxiously. Let me go take a look. Wang Xian took a look around and headed in directly. Dragon King, please? The group from Sui clan didn't attempt to stop him. After all, he had been known as Miracle Dr. Wang by the public previously, and he was also an unparalleled expert currently. Wang Xian entered and saw Sui Huang lying on the bed. Both of his arms were gone and he was drenched in blood. At the same time, his body was emitting a creepily high temperature. The clan leader of the Sacred Followers Guild was administering treatment. Beside him, a young girl was helping him out. Seeing Wang Xian walking in, he picked up a jade green bead in his hand and heaved a long sigh. How are the injuries of Sui Huang? Wang Xian took a glance at old Huang before walking to the side of the bed. Who are you? Didn't we say not to let anyone in now? He will be interrupting the treatment, said the young girl as she turned around and looked at Wang Xian. The young girl was in a white dress and had bright eyes. She looked captivating and didn't seem to be a girl from the mortal world. Old Huang waved his hand at the young girl, turned to Wang Xian and said solemnly, his injuries are severe. Really, really severe. Both of his arms were severed and his internal organs were torched by a heavenly flame. There are also several lethal wounds on his body that are taking a huge toll on Sui Huang. The young girl pouted and looked curiously at Wang Xian. Wang Xian walked to the side of the bed and checked on Sui Huang's injuries. His eyebrows knitted together and he placed a palm on his body. A stream of dense dragon energy entered. There's a fire spark in his body. Feeling the injuries in Sui Huang's body, Wang Xian was astonished. It's an injury that has gone deep into his bones. That black fire spark has attached itself deeply in the body of old Sui. The one who injured him is definitely not an ordinary expert. If it wasn't for old Sui being a fire attribute expert too, he would probably be finished. That black fire spark is a really pressing issue. If I can find the eternal ice water, I will be able to resolve it. Do you have other ways to erase it? Old Huang asked Wang Xian. Yeah. I can treat old Sui's injuries. Wang Xian nodded his head. You can? The young girl looked at Wang Xian and clearly didn't believe him. Even my master couldn't heal him. You can? The most severe injury on Sui Huang is that black heavenly flame. That heavenly flame is too domineering. Old Huang, can you restore the arms of Sui Huang? Wang Xian didn't pay any attention to that young girl as he asked the guild leader of the Sacred Followers Guild. Yeah, I can regrow his arms. The main issue is that black heavenly flame in his body. If you can remove it, old Sui's injuries wouldn't be much of a problem. Old Huang nodded his head. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head. He could also grow Sui Huang's arms. However, it would exhaust an immense amount of dragon energy. He wasn't surprised that the guild leader of the Sacred Followers Guild could regrow limbs. After all, he was number 1 on the Miracle Doctor's chart in the underworld. Even when compared to the entire world, he was second. His medical technique wouldn't be weak at all. Wang Xian placed his arm on old Sui's body. Water counters fire. Streams of dense water dragon energy entered Sui Huang's body. The owner of the black heavenly flame is really strong. When the water dragon energy reached the side of the black heavenly flame, it was blocked away to the astonishment of Wang Xian. However, Wang Xian wasn't weak either. Dense water dragon energy surrounded the black heavenly flame and slowly extinguished it. After a dozen odd minutes, the small black heavenly flame in Sui Huang's body was finally erased. Wang Xian heaved a sigh and said, "The black heavenly flame has been removed. As for the other injuries, I believe they will be easy for old Huang." "Yeah." Old Huang nodded his head and took a long glance at Wang Xian. "Miracle Dr. Huang, your medical skills are even more incredible than I imagined." "I'm just average, I guess." Wang Xian smiled plainly. "Medical Saint Sect isn't as simple as you imagined. Be careful in the future." Old Huang reminded plainly. He retrieved the jade green wood attribute bead and started his treatment of Sui Huang. Wang Xian was taken aback by what old Huang said. However, he simply shook his head nonchalantly. The young girl scrutinized Wang Xian from top to bottom. "I had not expected you to be a miracle doctor too. You are pretty good. I'll get out now. Please let me know when Sui Huang regains consciousness." Wang Xian didn't pay attention to the young girl as he headed for the door. "TSK. Who is he? What's there to be arrogant about?" Seeing Wang Xian ignoring her on multiple occasions, the young girl stared behind her and raised her fist furiously. "Master, who's that stinky brat?" asked the young girl with contempt. "Him? He's an incredible young man and a very arrogant one. Chow chow, don't you ever offend that kid. He's a little dauntless," said old Huang to the young girl with a smile. "TSK. He's just an ignorant brat. What's there to be so arrogant about?" the young girl grumbled. In her place, who dared to ignore her? Chapter 467 Fire God's Graveyard. Chapter 467, Fire God's Graveyard. "How's my master Xiao Xian?" Guan Shuqing asked in eagerness the very moment Wang Xian stepped out. 100 pairs of eyes of the Sui people in the Grand Hall were on him as well. "Not to worry, nothing serious, he should be able to come round shortly," Wang Xian replied with a smile. "Phew, thank God for it." "That's great," the Sui people exclaimed in great relief. "That couldn't be better. I'd be riddled with guilt should anything happen to Master because of me," Guan Shuqing added as she heaved a sigh of relief. With a smile, Wang Xian assured her as he patted her on the shoulder. It did not take too long for old Huang and the young girl to make their way out. "How's my father, old Huang?" "Nothing serious, he'll need to rest for a couple of months. He is awake and you may go in now," old Huang told the crowd. "We can't thank you enough, old Huang," expressed everyone with heartfelt gratitude. "Don't mention it, it would have taken much longer if not for Miracle Dr. Huang. I'll take my leave." Old Huang gestured with a wave before leaving with the young lady. The youthful girl gave Wang Xian a black look as she walked past him. "Humph," she went as she turned around and left the place. "Let's go in." Wang Xian was least bothered by her, a lass who did not look any older than 18 and seemed to be, undoubtedly, a spoiled teen. "Master." Guan Shuqing rushed to Sui Huang once she stepped into the room. Also in the room were the 4 sons of Sui Huang with the rest remaining in the Grand Hall, not wanting to disturb. "I'm all right, still alive." With a tinge of paleness across his face, Sui Huang muttered as he waved. He gave Wang Xian a glance and joked, "And I owe you one, Dragon King." "Ah, which disrespectful soul has beaten you up so badly?" Wang Xian chuckled. "Neither were you respectful." Sui Huang gave Wang Xian a death stare while Guan Shuqing, who was beside them, pinched him. "Haha." Sui Huang laughed, looking at the duo. He continued as a serious look replaced the smile on his face. "It was the Nether Flame. I was given a hefty hit by one of the Nether Flame experts. There are many powerful experts beyond our region." "Sigh. Nether Flame? Why did you end up in a fight when you were supposed to be on an art of cultivation quest?" asked the puzzled Wang Xian. Nether Flame was obviously a well-known power within the region which he was oblivious to. Someone has found the Fire God's Graveyard in Dubai, where Fire God's legacy and top-notch fire-attributed art of cultivation exist. It was when I tried entering the graveyard that I met the expert and was gravely injured by him. Sui Huang said bitterly. "Fire God's legacy? Who could be such an arrogant soul to have named himself God?" the slightly startled Wang Xian asked in astonishment. "A foreign fire-attributed expert. He must have been impressively powerful to be called God." Sui Huang responded. "Fire God is just one of the many that exist in the world. We have others like the thunder god, water god, demon god, god of Baki, god of land and many many more. With a beam, Sui Huang continued. In actual fact, these are nothing more than formidable human beings, similar to celestial beings. How could we consider one to be God then? Wang Xian asked out of curiosity. The most powerful in the underworld is said to be the Dan realm, a realm which Nye Wushuang has surpassed. A level above Dan realm would be Budding realm, which then leads to the immortal realm. This is where one would find immortals of the land, where they are known as deities in the east and gods in the west. Above this level comes the hollow breaking, but whether this realm to be regarded as hollow breaking or across cosmic remains unknown, Sui Huang proclaimed placidly. Budding realm? Immortal realm? Wang Xian asked in slight contemplation. Given his current combat power, which was equivalent to level 8 of the Divine Dragon, it would be said to be comparable to Budding realm. And level 9 of Divine Dragon would correspond to that of the Immortal realm. After level 9, first transformation of Divine Dragon would take place, and that would either be the legendary hollow breaking or across cosmic, which had yet to be confirmed. You mean one could still find a god outside our country? Wang Xian questioned in great bewilderment. Sui Huang pondered his question in silence. He shook and then nodded his head before commenting, I heard from old Huang recently that such a formidable power does exist in our region. Really? Wang Xian asked, somewhat stunned by the remark. Well, I wasn't sure either. It was believed that this has to do with the disappearance of the 9 cauldrons, which was meant to lock spiritual qi of the country. This was something that happened a good 300 years ago. Sui Huang answered. Sui Huang shook his head in disbelief. After all, a Dan realm expert was already more than intimidating. If a Dan realm expert could cross the plains at a speed faster than a plane, collapsing a dozens of meter tall mountain with a full force strike, how would a level above it be? It was definitely not an overstatement for such experts to break an immortal's limbs should immortals of the land exist. They could topple the mountains and overturn the seas, perishing a city with a population of millions in no time. Fire God's graveyard is indeed a land of immense treasures then, exclaimed Wang Xian. That goes without saying. A corner of the graveyard was all I viewed. Magnificent and mind-blowing, said Sui Huang with a faint sigh. I am curious to take a look then. Nether Flame, is that right? I shall avenge you while you stay home to recuperate and leave the search of cultivation for Suqing to me, elder, said Wang Xian to Sui Huang with a grin. Are you serious? To get yourself into trouble? I suspect that all the best experts of the Asian continent are gathering over there now, remarked Sui Huang as he frowned. Oh, have many experts been there? Wang Xian's brows furrowed. It was just a couple of them who had discovered that place, but word spread after my roar. Sui Huang smirked with a smug look on his face. So, that's the reason for being thrashed. Wordlessly, Wang Xian shook his head. He then looked at Guan Shuqing and said, You shall stay and keep Sui Huang company for a few days while I make a trip to the graveyard. Be extra careful, Xiao Xian. Guan Shuqing frowned slightly as she urged Wang Xian. Not to worry, you should be aware of my capabilities and know that they are way above your aged master. Wang Xian chuckled. Get out of here, you little brat. Sui Huang gave Wang Xian a good stare as he raged. Deep down he knew that Wang Xian had topped the Dan realm, as he had heard from the Sui people how this man had killed the supreme elder of medical Saint Sect in less than a minute. And he had been stunned with bitterness upon hearing the news. With a smile, Wang Xian left the room after saying a few words to Guan Shuqing. Well, it's time to greet the world and meet our foreign counterparts, instead of dealing with our own people, even if they are the most formidable ones. Chapter 468 Fire God's Token. Chapter 468, Fire God's Token. Dubai is one of the richest countries in Asia. In fact, it's one of the richer countries even when compared to the entire world. The Sail Ship Hotel in Dubai is the #1 hotel in Dubai. Moreover, Dubai has the world's tallest building and other notable structures. Dubai was an emirate and was famous within Asia. Wang Xian was on the plane towards Dubai. Around him, those who were heading to Dubai for holidays were all relatively rich people. Although Dubai was famous, the cost was also very high. It wasn't the first choice of tourism for ordinary families. When he walked out of the international airport, Wang Xian looked around him. It was indeed deserving of the name of an extravagant country. The Fire God's graveyard is on a volcano island in the vicinity. It should be easy to find an island with a volcano. Wang Xian recalled the place Sui Huang had described to him. After walking out of the airport, he hailed a cab and asked the driver, "Where's the island with a volcano?" Luckily, Wang Xian's command of the English language was still passable and he wasn't facing problems in conversing. Fire Spirit Island? You are going to the Fire Spirit Island too? There's quite a number of people who are heading there today. The driver was a local and was looking at Wang Xian inquisitively. Yeah. I'm going to the Fire Spirit Island to look for a friend. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head as he made up a reason casually. It's a little far from here and it would be an hour journey, the driver explained as he drove Wang Xian towards the Fire Spirit Island. The Fire Spirit Island is about 7 to 8 kilometers away from the mainland. From afar, one could see the white smoke fuming from the volcano. Because of the white smoke throughout the year and the occasional flames, the Fire Spirit Island could also be considered a scenic spot in Dubai. The beach in Dubai was extremely beautiful. The water was so clear that one could see the bottom of the sea. Directly opposite the Fire Spirit Island was a place for tea and snacks. At this moment, the place was already filled with people. Over 4,000 to 5,000 people were densely packed in the area. There are at most 1,000 people here typically. I'm not sure why there are so many people here today, the driver mumbled. After paying the cab fare, Wang Xian alighted from the car. Looking across, the entire beach was filled with people. From them, Wang Xian could feel immense energy. There are quite a number of inborn experts among the few thousand people here. Wang Xian stood on the pathway and looked down in shock. There are people from 8 different denominations here. It's impossible for Nether Flame to occupy the place for themselves. Dubai has also made an announcement that the Fire God's graveyard is within their territory. If one wishes to enter, he has to pay 100 million first. Otherwise, they can forget about entering. Dubai is really smart in this. They knew that it would be impossible for them to obtain the treasures inside. Therefore, they could only use this method to get something out of it. The other 8 denominations have no other options either. If they really pressed Dubai too hard, a strategic warhead might be sent here. At that time, no one could even wish to obtain the treasures. It's getting interesting now. Whoever can pay the sum is allowed in. The people from the 8 denominations didn't seem to have much to say about it either. The entire Fire God's graveyard is exceptionally huge. Moreover, dangers lurk in all corners. It spans several tens of kilometers and rumor has it that the Nether Flame has lost a good number of experts. It's a Fire God's graveyard after all and the residence of an elite expert. Fire God Hephaestus was most known for his equipment refining and his fire demons. The place is likely to be filled with countless fire demons. The 8 denominations are probably afraid of suffering grave losses and thus don't dare to enter recklessly. Therefore, they have only sent a small number of people to scout the place. When Wang Xian got closer and heard the conversation of the crowd, he was slightly surprised. The news of the Fire God's graveyard had been leaked by Sui Huang. He thought this place would be controlled by various powerful forces. However, it wasn't the case. Dubai is recruiting guards above level 9 martial artists. The 100 million entry fee would be exempted. One is allowed to keep half of the treasures obtained. There are currently 50 people who have joined. Wang Xian walked deeper in and was shocked by an eye-catching sign. Dubai is really smart to recruit guards. Whatever treasures the guards get from the graveyard, they will also receive half of them. Wang Xian chuckled. He realized that there were several forces recruiting guards like these. However, they didn't have the same credit rating as Dubai. As such, they could only promise spiritual stones or money directly. There were even some who were looking for teammates to explore the place together and to help each other out. To sum it up, the place was completely different from what Wang Xian had envisioned. The Fire God's graveyard was like a treasured place that required exploration. Wang Xian looked towards the Fire Spirit volcano curiously. The entrances to the Fire God's graveyard have been sealed. If I want to enter, I can only go by the main entrance. In that case, I have to pay 100 million. Wang Xian's eyebrows knitted together. Changing the currency from his country to Dubai's currency, he would have to pay $170 to $180 million. This wasn't a small sum. However, if he could obtain treasures from the Fire God's graveyard, this sum would just be peanuts. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and headed towards a room at the side. Those who wish to enter the Fire God's graveyard have to present a token of authority which can be purchased with money. Just as he stepped into the area, a service attendant explained this to Wang Xian. "Give me one," Wang Xian said immediately. In the Outstanding Young Heroes competition previously, the Dragon Sect had occupied all the spots. As such, all the rewards had gone to him. He received over 90 billion in cash. The only thing Wang Xian wasn't lacking now was cash. All right, this is for you. We are not responsible for any lost tokens. The service attendant threw a token of authority towards him and spoke plainly. The token of authority was the size of a palm with the words Fire God's Token written on it. Wang Xian walked out and flipped the token in his hand. Puff. At this moment, a hand grabbed towards the token of authority. Wang Xian was taken aback. He immediately moved aside and dodged the hand. At the same time he looked before him. 4 thievish-looking people appeared before him. All of them had small beards and had samurai swords hung around their waist. All of them were staring greedily at the token of authority in Wang Xian's hand. Japanese? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and stared coldly at the 4 of them. Brat, we are just missing a token of authority. Give us the token of authority in your hand. The old man in the middle played with his beard as the other 3 surrounded Wang Xian. Another fight. Just let them fight. The more that die, the merrier. That kid is really dumb to purchase a token of authority alone. Although 100 million isn't much, it's still substantial for a martial artist. It's a common occurrence for the weak to be robbed. This is already the 3rd case today. 3 people were killed in the previous incident. Those 3 are martial artists from Team Luchuan. That's not entirely right. In their countries they are referred to as ninjas. The kid didn't know the importance of hiding after purchasing a token of authority. It's clear that he's inexperienced. Just count this as a lesson. The surrounding crowd looked on with faint smiles, as they were already familiar with such developments. No one attempted to intervene. In fact, some were even regretting not making a move earlier. Chapter 469, Team Up. Chapter 469, Team Up. Can you rob and kill anyone over here? Asked Wang Xian to the old man with an English mustache as he surveyed the spectating crowd with an arching of his lips. Lad, you're really inexperienced. Hand over that token to me and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, a new body will be found on the ground. The old man with an English mustache grinned with a bloodthirsty look. Wang Xian chuckled and nodded his head slowly. I got it. As his voice trailed off, he lunged with a swift attack at that old man. Her? The 4 old Japanese men froze for a moment. Bastard water attack. That old man raged as he pulled out his samurai sword from his belt. He wielded it at Wang Xian with a movement that flowed smoothly like water. Trash. Slay. Wang Xian exhibited a disdainful look in his eyes as he swung his arm and struck at the old man with an aqua blade condensed in his hand. Bastard, you're courting your own doom. Murderous intent filled the eyes of the old man as soon as he saw Wang Xian condensing an aqua blade at his will, striking at him with a similar movement. His hands accelerated. The speed of a ninja is considered to be top-notch at the international level. One must not be careless when battling with a ninja. This young man is just too insolent. Must be disciples from some clans or forces. Kinda stupid. The surrounding crowd watched with a teasing look. Another 5 young men and ladies in unique attire walked out of the room. With one look, anyone could tell that they were the natives from Dubai. The 5 of them revealed a faint smile as they watched the scene unfolding before them. Bam. As soon as the long blade formed by water hit against the samurai sword, the aqua blade broke in half. There was a sneer in that old man's eyes. Let me cut your abdomen up. Shoo. Just when the voice of the old man trailed off, the broken piece of the aqua blade pointed at the old man directly. What? That old man was stunned as he raised his samurai sword for a block. Pow. Yet, his hands were numbed immediately. To his horror, he realized his arms were wrapped by the water current. Poof. During that brief stunned moment, the aqua blade pierced the old man's body. Wang Xian exhibited a trace of ridicule as he raised his arm, hurling numerous tangible aqua blades at the remaining 3 Japanese. Poof. How dare people like you vie for that token of authority? Wang Xian tossed that token in the air with a scornful look on his face. Bam 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 bam. 4 bodies fell to the ground. What great strength. That old Japanese man is an inborn expert. He actually got killed within a stroke. Are bad. None of us expected that young man to be an inborn expert. They finally met their match this time. They succeeded with the previous trio, but now Team Luchuan has met their end here. Everyone around them was appalled as they stared at Wang Xian with surprise. A young man who killed one inborn expert and 3 half-step to inborn experts caught them by a real surprise. It seems like the crowd was not too impressed by this. Indeed, there's a clear gap between the underworld and the international arena. Wang Xian observed the reactions around him and arched his eyebrows as he prepared to head for the Fire Spirit Island. "Buddy, hold on." At this time, a sudden voice was heard. Wang Xian paused and spun around when he saw 5 young people walking towards him. Wang Xian checked them out and asked, "Anything for me? Are you from Korea?" The young man in the center fixed his eyes on Wang Xian as he asked him with a beaming face. "No, I'm from China." Wang Xian raised his eyebrow. "What's up?" "Sorry, I didn't expect such a talented young man to be coming from the underworld of China." That young man apologized immediately with an apologetic hand gesture. However, his eyes were filled with more surprise. "Bro, are you alone? Don't get us wrong. We just want to head to the Fire God's graveyard with you." That young man reached out with an inviting gesture. "I'm alone, but I intended to go in myself." Wang Xian shook his head at them before he turned around and walked away. The 5 of them frowned slightly while the young man at the center hesitated. He called out again, "Bro, I think we can talk for a few minutes. I'm sure you won't be disappointed." "Just a few minutes will do." Wang Xian paused as he whirled around and faced the 5 people. "This way, please." Seeing Wang Xian look back, that young man quickly pointed to a room. With slight hesitation, Wang Xian looked at the building which he had bought his token from just now. Apparently, these 5 young people had some backings. "Sure." He nodded and followed them. The only reason that they invited him over must have been for the Fire God's graveyard. Even Wang Xian had to stay cautious when it came to the Fire God's graveyard. After all, to be known as a god in the international arena must have required one to possess a greater strength than him. Wang Xian was slightly far from being a godlike being. The dangers lurking in the Fire God's graveyard could inflict him with severe injuries. He followed the 5 people to a room that looked extravagant. "Speak up, people, I want to know what you can come up with for me to join you guys," said Wang Xian to them with a smile. Out of the 5 of them, there was a girl who had a veil over her face. Only her beautiful pink eyes, which looked a little queer, could be seen. "We have a general map of the Fire God's graveyard. We can provide you with some weapons. All in all, it's much safer to go with us than by yourself. The chance of getting treasures is much higher too." That young man in the center continued to add on. Wang Xian lifted his eyebrow a little as he scanned the 5 of them briefly. "Honestly, all of you are somehow weak." All of them halted. There was a twisted expression on the face of that young man. "All of us are at inborn levels and we have powerful weapons with us. 5 of us can manage even a half-step to Dan Realm expert. With your participation, we have ways to explode our strength to half-step to Dan Realm level." "Oh, since all of you are so compelling, you guys can just kill me after that. I will be doomed if I follow you people," said Wang Xian impassively as he looked at them. "Don't worry. We can swear a blood oath and take some cursed beetles. If we defied our oaths, we would die immediately. What do you think?" asked the young man to Wang Xian, staring at him. "Sure, but it's up to individual strength after we enter." Wang Xian chuckled as he answered. "Sure." The 5 of them nodded without any comments. "Great, when are we setting off?" asked Wang Xian immediately. "In the wee hours of tonight. We'll enter at the coldest time, when the fire demon at Fire God's graveyard is deep in sleep," answered the young man. "Sure, we'll meet tonight over here. I'll take a stroll nearby." Wang Xian smiled and nodded as he headed outside. "Elder brother, this guy is super arrogant. He thinks he's good, but I don't feel he's reliable at all. Let's drop the idea of going there." The girl with a veil pleaded with the young man at the center as soon as Wang Xian departed. "He's not weak, Sai, and we don't have other choices. Inborn experts with water attributes have their own forces. After we lost a Dan Realm expert, we almost wanted to give up. But now we should give it a shot. If we can find the holy water scripture and holy water, all these things will have been worth it." "Brother, I still think we shouldn't go," the girl pleaded. "For your sake, I must find the holy water." Chapter 470 Daughter. Chapter 470, Daughter. Dragon King, Prime Minister Turtle and the rest have not been revived yet in the Dragon Palace. Evening. Wang Xian sat by an outdoor restaurant near the beach and was talking to Mo Qinglong over the phone. Wang Xian had sent Mo Qinglong to the Dragon Palace to teach the Golden Swordfish race to read and speak, and at the same time, to check if the rest had been revived. The time required to revive them had exceeded his expectations. With the powers of the Soul Returning Branch and Dragon Transformation Pool, it would still take more time before they could be revived. There aren't any treasures in the Dragon Palace currently. Let's hope that I can get some on this trip to the Fire God's graveyard. Sitting by the restaurant next to the beach, Wang Xian looked towards the clear sea water some distance away. Before him, there were tourists from various countries in sexy bikinis playing by the beach. In the sea, a yacht steered by and left behind a long trail of white waves. Sister Lingling, you are so annoying. I want to go surfing. I want to go surfing. Have you forgotten that you almost drowned the last time you went surfing? You can forget about it. Just sit here, drink your tea obediently, and enjoy the sun. TSK. You. Oh. Wang Xian glanced over after hearing a conversation coming from his side. It was between two girls. One was a loli with two ponytails. Her clothes resembled those cosplay costumes and she looked adorable in them. The other girl was wearing a white skirt. Both of them were chatting casually. Wang Xian looked over with eyes of admiration. When he noticed that the loli was staring at him, he felt a little embarrassed and turned around. What's the matter, Xiaowan? You are finally at the age where you are interested in handsome guys? The girl teased Xiaowan after seeing her staring at Wang Xian. Sister Lingling. It's him. It's him. He's that uncle. Suddenly that loli pointed at Wang Xian and shouted. Oh. The girl by her side looked curiously towards Wang Xian. When Wang Xian heard the shouts of the loli, he also turned his head over. He raised an eyebrow and found them to be rather familiar. He's the one who raced with us. The one that rode a heavy-duty motorcycle. It's him. The loli exclaimed. The girl by the side pondered for a moment, turned her attention towards Wang Xian and was struck by a sudden realization. It's really him. You are that little brat. After the loli kicked up a ruckus, Wang Xian also recalled this little brat. He met her when he had just had the mysterious encounter. After winning a heavy-duty motorcycle from a guy, he encountered 3 sports cars. Those 2 girls were in one of the 3 sports cars. At that time they raced and crashed into a big truck after they went into the opposite lane. This little brat had both legs broken on the spot and that beautiful girl also suffered a huge blow to her chest. At that time he had helped to heal them. Who would have expected he would meet them here after half a year? Wang Xian's lips curved up slightly. He looked to the little brat and found her a little more attractive as compared to half a year ago. So my daughter is here. Yeah. How are your injuries? Wang Xian smiled, looked towards the slender legs of the loli and teased her. He still could recall this little brat asking him to call her mom if he had lost. After the accident, Wang Xian made her call him dad and this little brat did so while crying. The memories were still fresh in his mind. After all, she was the first daughter he had. You rascal. Seeing how Wang Xian was teasing her, the loli instantly fumed. She gritted her teeth and stared at him. She could still remember clearly that when she was about to fall unconscious, this guy made her call him daddy. At the thought of this, she couldn't wait to eat him. Xiaowan, don't be rude. The girl by the side pulled the loli by her arm and turned to Wang Xian. With a sincere voice, she thanked Wang Xian. I'm really grateful for your treatment last time. We heard it from the doctor. If it wasn't for you, we would have been in trouble. However, I'm really sorry about it. Because of our family matters, we had come to Dubai for treatment and didn't have the opportunity to express our gratitude. We really did not expect to see you here. Wang Xian shook his head with a smile and answered, It's all right. What a coincidence. Yeah, what a coincidence, the girl chuckled. Soon she continued, I'm Tang Lingling and this little girl here is Mu Xiaowan. She's a little playful. My name is Wang Xian. Please take a seat. Wang Xian gestured for them to sit. Tang Lingling nodded her head, pulled Mu Xiaowan along and sat down. Are you here in Dubai for the holidays? Yeah. What about you guys? Wang Xian nodded his head and asked the girls. Our family has business here, answered Tang Lingling. Do you know how to swim? At this moment Mu Xiaowan suddenly asked him this. Of course I know. Wang Xian looked at the little girl and answered with a smile. Do you know anything about surfing then? Mu Xiaowan's eyes beamed and she continued asking. It is nothing to me. Wang Xian said heartily. Why don't we go surfing? It's so boring staying here. Let's go, handsome uncle. Mu Xiaowan stood up instantly and continued, to thank you for saving us the last time. For the next few days the great Missy here can bring you around in Dubai. I'll cover your accommodation and meals. What do you think? I'm not interested in surfing today. All I wanted is to sit here and rest. Wang Xian said heartily. This won't do. Mu Xiaowan's jaw dropped. Seeing how Wang Xian was leaning against the chair lazily, she pouted. When would you be interested in going surfing then? We will see again. Wang Xian found her hilarious and chuckled. Mr. Wang, how many days will you be hanging around here? Tang Lingling asked with a smile. I'm not sure yet. It depends. In that case we can be the host and bring you around Dubai. We have been here for half a year and know this place really well. All right. Let me treat you to a sumptuous meal. However, you have to bring me surfing. Are you okay with it? Seeing people from his home country in a foreign land, Wang Xian chatted for close to 2 hours with the two girls. The little brat constantly begged Wang Xian to bring her to surf. Eventually Wang Xian gave in and agreed to her request with a smile. At night, the little girl brought him to a seafood restaurant. At 9 p.m. they bade each other farewell. The beaches in Dubai were still well lit at night. It was especially so for the beach near the #1 hotel in the world. Looking at it from afar, it was breathtaking. Wang Xian lay below an umbrella on the beach and waited silently. At midnight, Wang Xian arrived at the seaside punctually. Brother, this is a cursed beetle that came from your underworld. After the 6 of us consume it, I believe you will feel more assured. The 5 people from Dubai had been waiting for him. As compared to the day, all 5 of them were now wearing capes and resembled those martial artists in China. All right. Wang Xian didn't ask them about their outfits and the group consumed the cursed beetle. Cursed beetles originated from the underworld and were still widely used internationally. The promises and constraints between martial artists could be enforced using cursed beetles. Those who went against the rules would suffer great consequences. Even inborn experts or even stronger existences had to follow the constraints. Let's go. The 5 of them didn't speak much. They jumped onto a boat by the side and steered it towards the Fire Spirit Island. Chapter 471 Fire Demons. Chapter 471 Fire Demons. Fire God's graveyard was situated at the top of an active fire spirit volcano. Nearing this area one could feel the immense heat coming from there. 5 people stood at the deck of the vessel without a word. Wang Xian cast a look at them. Somehow he felt that there was something queer about them. It was as though they were going in for the last fighting chance. 5 of them dressed in oversized clothes with a rain hat on them, and it was hard to distinguish the genders. But that did not bother Wang Xian. He joined the team to hunt for treasures and the fire-attributed art of cultivation. Since they had the map and experience, it would be a lot easier. Who's there? A loud cry was heard when the yacht arrived at the Fire Spirit Island. A dozen young men in local attire glared at them coldly. They had weapons that were not the usual firearms. The gun muzzle was about half a centimeter, which looked threatening. We're going in. The 5 people tossed the tokens one by one, while a middle-aged man gestured as soon as he saw the tokens. Let's go. The 5 of them called out to Wang Xian and leaped off to the ground. They went ahead with a clear sense of direction. One side of the island was well presented in front of them as soon as they arrived at the island. The ground was pitch black in color with terrifying magma rocks at the side. The temperature over here was at least 70 to 80 degrees. There was no way for ordinary people to stay here. This is? When Wang Xian came to the nearest volcano, he was taken aback by what he saw. There were 10 volcanoes on the entire Fire Spirit Island, and the streams of lava flowing through each of them were connected. On the mountain before them was written 3 blazing words, Fire God Palace. The words were burning and thus looked extremely impressive. The entrance was 20 meters wide and 20 meters tall. Part of it had collapsed. 5 of them went ahead with a blue glow being exuded from their bodies to fend off the scorching heat. Wang Xian followed along until 9 huge entrances appeared before them. Before the entrance stood over 30 people in different attires, looking at the 9 separate entrances. Another few are here to die. A bunch of weak trashes are hoping to go in with a fancy dream about taking the fire god legacy, ha. Several martial artists in white outfits with a black flame on them scoffed at Wang Xian and the gang coldly. Let's go. As Wang Xian turned to them, the 5 people quickly instructed him and entered into one of the caves. The cave entrance was 5 meters wide. Upon their entering, the temperature shot up to 10 times higher to a temperature of at least 700 degrees. Martial artists below level 9 would definitely die if they entered this place. Don't provoke the other 8 forces. Otherwise they can just kill you straight away. The fire god's graveyard was the former fire god palace. The palace was divided into 9 halls with a main hall that spanned a 15-kilometer surface area. It was 2 times bigger than what the rumors said. Apart from this, the palace had 2 stories. One of the entrances will lead to the side hall, and thereafter the main hall. Each side hall has treasures. But to date, none of the forces have ever made it to the main hall, not even the side ones either. The 5 young people removed their rain hats and tossed them aside. The rain hat immediately burst into flames, being reduced to ashes. They took off their oversized clothes, revealing pastel blue uniforms. On their uniforms there were dots of glows. The only girl among them wore a pastel blue face veil. Here. The young man in the middle handed something to Wang Xian. He received and took a look. Her? Aqua Star, level 10. This is a precious item from our family. If we can leave this place, you have to return this to us. This is Aqua Star aka Hexastar. As the young man spoke, he took out another one as well. All 5 of them had one each. When the 6 of us stand in a hexagon, the water energy will be connected, and we can explode half-step to Dan Realm's strength. On top of that, if any one of us is in danger, this will allow us to support each other instantaneously. In the Fire God Palace, there are countless fire demons. These fire demons are similar to any ferocious beasts with a mighty strength. As a place for God, some existences are 1 level lower than him. Every side hall has 2 Dan Realm fire demons. Oh, 2 Dan Realms? If there are only 2 Dan Realms, why couldn't those powerful forces enter till now? Asked Wang Xian with his eyebrow raised. Apart from the Dan Realm fire demons, there are many close to 80 inborn fire demons around. These fire demons could be comparable to Dan Realm experts already. Besides, it is extremely difficult to exterminate the fire demons in the palace. Hence, 2 inborn experts are required to suppress 1 fire demon. After all, this is the Fire God Palace. Fire demons in here will have a huge boost to their strength. The young man explained to Wang Xian. Has anyone taken any treasures from the Fire God Palace before? Asked Wang Xian with his curiosity piqued. Yes, this is a palace of the Fire God with many treasures in it. Someone even obtained spiritual flame ball, fire spiritual grass, and even heavenly flame before. As a result, this place attracted 8 supreme class forces from Asia within a day. The young man continued, later we will have to depend on our own strength for the treasures. Of course we can divide out those that are easily obtained. I have a map here that states the distribution of those fire demons. Follow us. Sure. Wang Xian nodded, took the Aqua Star and stood in his position. The rest of them also remained at their specific positions with that girl in the middle. Wang Xian injected the energy of the water dragon. At once, the Aqua Stars connected together. He could sense the ability to mobilize the compelling energies from the other 5 people. What an amazing Aqua Star. It can allow an inborn expert to explode with half-step to Dan Realm strength. Wang Xian pondered to himself. Let's go and keep in the hexagon position, or else it will be ineffective. The young man beckoned to Wang Xian, and the group moved forward. These people are quite good. Wang Xian remained in the last position, where he did not have to deal with first-hand dangers. Be careful. It's the pool of lava ahead. There could be fire demons sprouting out from there. They continued forward where it got spacious at about 50 meters ahead. A space of about a 1-kilometer radius, which was 20 meters tall at the ceiling, emerged. Below that spot was rumbling lava that was bubbling with terrifying heat. Some rocks lined up as steps in the middle. Wang Xian noticed a fire demon bubbling out from the left of the lava pool. Its body was made up of lava rocks with a pair of pitch-black eyes, exuding a daunting temperature. Beside the fire demon was a fiery red lotus flower. That's the fire demon. This pool of lava should be the spiritual medicine garden with fire-attributed spiritual grass growing in it. That fiery red lotus flower is known as the Flaming Lotus, a level 5 spiritual grass. Chapter 472 Fire Crystal. Chapter 472, Fire Crystal. Fire Demon, Level 10. Flaming Lotus, Level 5. Wang Xian was astonished to see the Fire Demon and Flaming Lotus in the tumbling lava. How deep is this pool of lava? Wang Xian looked at the pool of lava that appeared as bottomless as an abyss. From it he could feel terrifying heat. He squinted his eyes and looked into the pool of lava. A red and blue glow flashed in his eyes and the situation of the pool of lava appeared before his eyes. However, layer after layer of fire demons masked his vision and made it impossible for him to see the bottom. The 5 of them were shocked by what Wang Xian said. They shook their heads immediately and replied, "We don't know. No one has entered it before." An expert from the Fire God denomination entered into the pool of lava previously. However, he returned with severe injuries. As to what is inside, we have no idea at all. Let's continue our journey forward and get to the side hall as soon as possible, the young man continued and said to Wang Xian. Let's go. For now, let's fly over and avoid the fire demons below us. Once a fight is started, there will be more fire demons appearing. The young man reminded the group solemnly before taking flight. Wang Xian followed behind the group. Grr. Just as they entered the air space of the pool of lava, that fire demon turned around and stared at them with his bright and black eyes. At the same time he let out a growl. Be careful. If he moves, we have to kill it instantly. The young man at the front of the group was worried as he charged ahead rapidly. Grr. At this moment, the fire demon charged towards the girl in the middle. In the process he brought waves of scorching hot lava with him. Kill? The young man at the front of the group was stunned. He activated the aqua stars and arrows were shot towards the fire demon. Boom. Countless water arrows shot through it and scattered the fire demon into countless pieces. Hurry! We've got to move. Fire demons are very sensitive to water attributes. The young man shouted loudly and charged towards the opposite shore. Blop. Blop. At this moment, bubbles were rising from the pool of lava. Several heads emerged from the pool one after another. Their heads were the size of a basketball and they were staring at Wang Xian and the group with their clear and black eyes. Let's go. The 6 of them were unmoved. With their speed, they could definitely reach the opposite shore before the attacks of the fire demons reached them. Puff. However, a gust of hot wind blew towards them with sparks of fire. The group of youths were instantly shocked. Shit. That's flaming wind. We can't get there now. The young man was flabbergasted and shouted, Defend! Withstand the attacks of the flaming wind and the fire demons. There's wind blowing here. Wang Xian looked ahead of him and was shocked to see the strong gust of wind carrying sparks of fire. The color of the sparks was even darker than the lava. Boom. At this moment, the shape of a hexastar appeared around them and glowed in a blue light. Bam. 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 The sparks of the flaming wind fell on it, making clashing sounds. Below them, fire demon after fire demon raised their fists and attacked them. Hang in there. All we have to do is to hang in there till the flaming wind is gone. The young man shouted loudly once again. As he waved his arm, he retrieved the long sword that was hanging behind him and slashed down at the fire demon below him. There was a total of 18 fire demons and everyone had the strength of an inborn expert. Bam bam bam. However, with the increment of the aqua stars, the battle strength of the 5 of them could reach the level of a half-step to Dan Realm expert. The girl with a veil carried a blue bow in her hands. Streams of water were flowing on the bow. As she drew back the bow, the water formed an arrow and shot out directly. It seems like I don't have to do a thing. Wang Xian looked across before looking down. At this moment, Wang Xian saw 5 roughly 3-meter-long fire demons emerging from the pool of lava and glowering at the 6 of them. Rumble. Each of them carried a huge lava stone and they threw them towards the sky. When the 2-meter lava stones fell on them, the defense of the hexastar trembled. Shit. Those fire demons have the strength of half-step to Dan Realm experts. The young man turned even gloomier after seeing the 3 huge fire demons in the pool of lava. There's something in the heads of the fire demons. Those must be treasures. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and saw a fiery red crystal in the head of the fire demon after it had been smashed into pieces. You guys are too weak. Just stand aside and leave this to me. Seeing their attacks, Wang Xian chuckled nonchalantly as he charged towards the sea of fire demons. Don't break away from the area of the Hexastar. When the young man saw Wang Xian attacking the area below them, his face instantly sank. The other four were also exceptionally bitter. Once Wang Xian left, their strength would also be weakened substantially. However, Wang Xian didn't pay any attention to them. Although the 5 inborn experts could be considered immensely incredible among all martial artists, they were still weak in his eyes. He swung his arm and ropes formed from water streams wrapped towards the fire demons. Pa pa pa. As the water rope went around their necks, one could hear the sounds of water sizzling. Wang Xian pulled the rope in an explosive move. The heads of the fire demons were ripped apart instantly and flew towards Wang Xian. What? The other 5 were astonished to witness what had just happened. The eyes of the girl in the middle flickered as she stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. He's so strong to kill those fire demons in a single strike. Bam, bam, bam. Wang Xian cracked open the skulls of these fire demons casually. Soon, several fiery red fire crystals fell into his hands. Fire crystal, level 10. Inborn level material. I can use them to forge weapons or aid in cultivation. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Each fire crystal was the size of a fist and was emitting heat. SSS. The 5 of them looked at Wang Xian in shock and gasped. This is a fire crystal, the essence of the fire demon. It is also the core of the fire demon. Fire crystals possess spirituality and can turn into fire demons. Seeing Wang Xian observing the fire crystals, the young man explained this to Wang Xian while feeling complicated. These are really useful. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked to the pool of lava below him. We did not expect your strength to be so strong. You probably could rank among the top half-step to Dan realm experts. Now that the flaming wind has subsided, let's get over quickly. The young man took a deep breath and said. Wait for me at the opposite shore. I want to take a look under the pool of lava. Wang Xian looked at the pool of lava and jumped into it directly. Brother, it's exceptionally dangerous in the pool of lava. Even an inborn expert would suffer if he entered it. Bam. Just before he could complete his words, Wang Xian was already completely submerged in the pool of lava. This infuriated the young man a little. He is really strong but too reckless. The girl in the middle frowned as she looked at the spot where Wang Xian had dived into. His strength has completely exceeded our expectations. However, he likes to act tough and believes he is really strong. I wonder if it will turn out to be a good or bad thing to call him along. The young man remarked as he stared bitterly at the pool of lava. Ace. A sigh came from the girl. Chapter 473, I'll take care of you all. Chapter 473, I'll take care of you all. Bro, do you think he has reached Dan realm based on the strength that he displayed just now? Asked the girl in the middle to the young man as she stared blankly at the lava pool. How could it be? Even though he can kill 5 powerful fire demons in a single strike, I still don't believe he possesses the strength of Dan realm. The young man shook his head. He must have some compelling treasure with him. I guess so. The girl nodded slowly and knit her eyebrows. She took an ice crystal from her pocket and placed it in her mouth. Another relapse? The young man rushed to her side with concern. I'm fine. The girl shook her head. Don't worry, sister. We'll find the holy water, said the young man with a firm tone. As her eyelashes arched upward, the girl revealed a beautiful smile. Let's hope that the young man can come out soon. Sure enough, it's the fire god's graveyard. There are so many treasures here. Wang Xian entered the pool of lava and was elated by what he saw. The lava pool was a few hundred meters deep with sticky magma all over. Even an inborn expert could get melted in the hot lava. At this time, Wang Xian gave off a fiery glow, filling up his body with inferno dragon energy. Entering this place was no different from entering the ocean. Fire demons all were crouching at the bottom, with hundreds of them densely packed together. They surrounded the central location with a huge lotus flower. The lotus was 2 meters in size, giving off a fiery red glow even amid fire-hot lava. However, that lotus flower was different from flaming lotus. It had a huge stem. To be precise, it was a tree. Wang Xian was thrilled as he dashed to the bottom of the lava. Grew. The arrival of Wang Xian awakened all the fire demons around him. A few hundred dark fire demons' eyes were watching him. Since there are no Dan realm fire demons, there's no need to fear. Wang Xian drew his lips and braved forward. Grew. At that very moment, a few hundred of fire demons charged at him. Humph, go to hell? Wang Xian snorted as he brought up both hands. The entire space at the bottom of the lava seemed to be plunged into silence. Exterminate. With a soft groan, hundreds of fire demons shattered, with the fire crystals on their foreheads flying towards him. Given my current strength, I'm just a level away from being godlike. Besides, my strength is close to becoming a deity after transforming into a divine dragon. Wang Xian arched his lips as he came to the gigantic flaming lotus. Getting close to the lotus, Wang Xian noticed the heat given off was not that high. Fire God Lotus, level 12. It's not a flaming lotus, it's a weapon. Wang Xian was taken aback upon seeing the gigantic Fire God Lotus. The entire Fire God Lotus stem was 7 meters long while the flower had a size of 2 meters. He touched it and realized that it was a metal lotus. It's a weapon, a level 12 weapon. Wang Xian was a little shocked as he swung his arm and grabbed the Fire God Lotus. Buzz. Suddenly, a terrifying flame shrouded Wang Xian and the color of the flame switched from red to purple to black and eventually to a bloody red. The bloody red flame turned into a lotus flower which lurched at him. What? Wang Xian had a slight change in his expression as dragon scales surfaced on his body, giving off an immense flame. Roar. Suddenly, furious roars came from the Fire God Lotus. Wang Xian had a slight change in his expression. It was a spirit and a powerful one. Wang Xian shook his arms, and they transformed into 2-meter-long terrifying dragon claws while he raked them across the Fire God Lotus. Buzz. The Fire God Lotus jerked once before it was finally calmed down. Wang Xian stared at the Fire God Lotus while he swung his arm again. The Fire God Lotus gradually shrunk into a 1.6-meter size. The fiery red lotus flower was the size of a human head with 12 petals on it. This is a staff? Wang Xian was shocked to see this as he sensed a surging and robust fire element coming from it. There were many elemental martial artists in Euramerica also known as mages. These mages who specialized in remote attacks would have staffs as their weapons. A level 12 staff surpasses any inborn spiritual weapons. Wang Xian held the staff in his hand as he sensed the incredible power in it. His eyes glimmered with surprise. With the Fire God Lotus staff in his hand, he felt cool. Besides, the Fire God Lotus could alter its size, which was extremely amazing. Wang Xian looked around and noticed the space under the layers of lava was much larger than that above. The space over here should be connected with the other routes. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly as he peered into the distance. Fire God Hephaestus specializes in making fire demons and refining equipment. Does that mean that a type of weapon is hidden under each of the 9 routes? If that is the case then. Wang Xian's eyes were fired up with passion. If there were 9 level 12 weapons, that would be insane. Let's check it out. With a thought, he looked to the left and swam out rapidly. Oh no, someone took the Fire God's staff. At this time, an old man with striking red hair had a huge change in his expression as he growled in another side hall. What? Lord Armins, did you say someone took the Fire God's staff? How is this possible? The people beside him were stunned as they exclaimed with disbelief. It's true. I left some fire to keep a tab, but little did I expect someone to take away the staff of Fire God. That old man's face was somber. But the staff is spiritual. No one can take it if they are too weak. Could it be some other compelling experts from other sects who were here? The group of experts from Fire God denomination asked with gloomy faces. I'm not sure. Let's act fast. We need to pass through the side hall and get inside. Otherwise it will be complicated. On the other hand, send someone to investigate this. The Fire God staff is mighty. If someone got it, we will be able to find out. I hope it's not anyone from the other denominations. The group from Fire God denomination remarked with darkened expressions. Nope. There's nothing. It's just this weapon. What a disappointment. Wang Xian made one round without any discovery of other weapons under the lava pool. Feeling let down, he shook his head. Then he jumped out of the lava. Bam. Wang Xian leaped out from the lava before the 5 people. As soon as they saw Wang Xian with a staff in his hand, they were astounded. You guys will lead the way. With me around, there's nothing to be afraid of. Wang Xian commented jokingly as he was in high spirits. The The 5 of them took a deep look at him and the staff before they nodded. Bro, it's better to be careful. This is Fire God Palace, the graveyard of a god. The young man took a deep breath solemnly as he reminded Wang Xian again. No problem. Don't be such a chicken. I'll take care of you all. Wang Xian grinned at them. Chapter 474, Treasure. Treasure. Chapter 474, Treasure. Treasure. When the 5 of them heard Wang Xian, they almost choked. However, they didn't say a thing. This water attribute martial artist that they had found at the last minute was surprisingly much stronger than they had expected. You got the staff from below the pool of lava? The girl in the middle blinked her eyes and asked. Yeah, just a small staff. Wang Xian smiled and turned it in his hands. The staff looked extremely exquisite and the fiery red lotus on it was as vivid as it could be. It was entirely red and one could tell that it's extraordinary with a single look. Let's go, Wang Xian said to the group. The group nodded their heads and followed. There are 3 paths right ahead of us. 2 of them won't lead to the side hall. Instead, you will find the demon-rearing caves at the end of the path. There are over 1,000 fire demons there and death is almost certain if one carelessly enters it. As they walked ahead, a 3-forked road appeared before them. The young man explained this to Wang Xian. Fire god Hephaestus had a weird behavior. Based on records, he rarely interacted with people. Instead, he lived with the fire demons. The entire Fire God Palace is filled with fire demons. As long as we follow this path, we will be able to reach the side hall. There are 2 Dan Realm level fire demons guarding the place. However, we will also likely encounter several dozens of fire demons on the way. We have to kill these fire demons first. Perhaps he had noticed that Wang Xian was much stronger than them. Therefore, the young man was explaining it in detail to Wang Xian. 2 Dan Realm level fire demons? With the strength of your group, I don't think you guys would make it in. Wang Xian took a glance at the 5 of them and raised an eyebrow. We have 2 plans that are worth a try. However, the outcome isn't certain. The young man hesitated for a moment and chose not to hide any further. What plans do you guys have? Asked Wang Xian curiously. First, we can lead the fire demons away so my sister can get in. Second, the second plan is to use my blood. While the young man was explaining, the girl in the middle interrupted. Wang Xian looked at the girl in shock. I have the fire seed from the fire god in me. Therefore, if we can use our blood, Dan Realm fire demons which are smarter might be able to sense it. The girl said to Wang Xian. Fire seed from the fire god? Wang Xian was taken aback and showed a shocked expression. The so-called fire seed could also be interpreted as a bloodline. In other words, she was a descendant of a fire god. However, a fire seed was also entirely different from a bloodline. Fire seeds were implanted by experts to ensure that their descendants could become powerful fire attribute cultivators. The seed could trigger the cultivation talents of their descendants. The fire seed of the fire god was also the powerful affinity to fire. This doesn't make sense. You are a water attribute cultivator. Wang Xian stared at the girl and frowned slightly. This is because I'm also the descendant of a water god. I've triggered the fire seed and water seed in me at the same time. The girl explained plainly and a flash of helplessness ran through her eyes. This, incredible. Wang Xian was a little speechless. The descendant of a fire god and water god. Although this didn't mean that she was born after a water god mated with a fire god, it was still within the last 5 generations. In other words, the ancestors of the girl had a fire god and a water god within the last 5 generations. It wasn't certain that a fire seed or a water seed could be triggered. This depended on talents, body constitution and luck. Moreover, they would disappear within 5 generations. This girl has triggered the fire seed and the water seed subsequently. That's extremely rare, but water and fire can't coexist. A water god should be able to erase the fire seed in you? Wang Xian looked at the girl. Among our past ancestors, there was only a single water god and she passed away, the young man said with a heavy expression. Based on what you guys have said, if there are Dan Realm fire demons in the side hall, there should also be stronger fire demons in the main hall. After you guys get in, what are you guys going to do? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and asked inquisitively. The stronger the fire demon, the more intelligent it is. If the main hall really has a powerful fire demon, it must have lived with the fire god for a long time. My sister has the fire seed from the fire demon. I believe the fire demon won't harm us. We are looking for the holy water that was stolen away by the fire god. The holy water can cleanse away the fire seed in my sister's body," the young man said with a heavy expression. Wang Xian nodded his head. Since the fire demon was the slave of the fire god, it would definitely not harm the descendant of the fire god. It would be especially so for a descendant that had triggered the fire seed. Now it makes sense why you guys dare to come in with your strength. Let's go, Wang Xian said to the group and walked ahead. Within the fire god palace, the closer one was to the center location, the hotter the flames would be. Even the surrounding rocks were red. Although the 5 of them had reached the inborn realm, they still had to resist the heat with all their strength. "There are so many fire demons along the way," the young man commented solemnly after seeing what was ahead of him. "Just follow behind me." Wang Xian chuckled nonchalantly as he walked ahead with the fire god Lotus. Ahead of him, several dozen fire demons stood in the center. Above them, lava was dripping off the wall as a result of the heat. Growling grr. When the fire demons noticed Wang Xian and the group, they stared at them with their deep and black eyes. At the same time they charged towards them and attacked. Wang Xian waved the fire god Lotus and several lotus flowers flew ahead. When they contacted the head of the fire demons, their heads were blown away. Those must be the effects of the staff. That must at least be a weapon that is above the inborn spiritual level. The group of 5 was shocked when they saw how powerful it was. The girl with a veil looked fervently at the staff in Wang Xian's hand. Along the way all the fire demons were easily killed. Soon a huge palace appeared before him. The palace was approximately 15 meters tall. As compared to the Dragon Palace, the architecture seemed a little rough. However, it was no less majestic than the most spectacular treasure hall. From time to time, lava would drip from the ceiling, making it look exceptionally breathtaking. Far away they could see 2 5-meter fire demons resting at the center of the side hall. Around them there were over 100 inborn-level fire demons. At one end of the side hall, there were various fiery red boxes. Several weapons were placed casually around and each of these weapons gave off a strong vibe. On the walls of the palace, a spiritual flame ball the size of a human head was embedded. SSS. There are so many treasures around. That spiritual flame ball is at least level 11. As for those weapons that are casually placed, they are all inborn spiritual weapons. How crazy is this? Wang Xian's eyes beamed with excitement. If inborn spiritual weapons were casually placed around and a level 11 spiritual flame ball was embedded into the wall, those treasures in the box would be even more precious. This was just one of the 9 side halls. There was still the main hall. What kind of treasures would there be in the main hall? Wang Xian was exhilarated. This was indeed the fire god's graveyard that had attracted lots of elite forces in Asia. The treasures of this place were insane. Those 2 fire demons are unbelievably strong. A Dan realm expert from our family was easily killed by them. After that incident, our family also gave up on the treasures of the fire god. We are only left with the 2 plans. As the young man looked at the 2 fire demons, fear gleamed in his eyes as he took a deep breath. Chapter 475, Unexpected Battle. Chapter 475, Unexpected Battle. 2 Dan Realm Fire Demons. Wang Xian curled his lips slightly as he swept his gaze across all the treasures in the hall. "Let's enter," said Wang Xian straightaway. "We have a defensive weapon that can temporarily resist the fire demons. As long as we stall them for a while, my sister and I can go inside. With some luck we could. Let me test the strength of those fire demons." Before the young man could finish his words, Wang Xian leaped into the hall. The 5 of them were appalled as they quickly shouted, "Bro, the fire demons are extremely strong. They'll start to attack you frantically once you enter the side hall. Don't be rash. All of you stay outside." Without turning his head, he replied in a soft voice. He was not being impulsive, but rather he had no fear of those fire demons given his current strength. Roar. When Wang Xian stepped into the side hall, all the fire demons let out a roar. The 2 enormous fire demons which were lying in the center slowly got up. A horrifying heat wave rushed at him as the air turned red instantly. The entire space was covered in redness while some vague figures could be seen from the outside. Oh no, there's no chance for him to survive even if he's a Dan realm expert when he charged in recklessly. The young man had a dreadful look when he saw Wang Xian charge inside. The girl in the center sighed without many choices. Let's wait over here. Exterminate. Wang Xian scanned all the fire demons as soon as he entered the side hall. The fire god lotus was shaking in his hand, exuding blazing fiery red lava. The lava condensed into a lotus shape that lurched at its surroundings. Beautiful yet explosive. Boom boom. In a second, a violent explosion took place in the side hall. The flame enveloped the entire area. Roar. Roar. Her? Suddenly 2 enormous figures pounced onto Wang Xian. He raised his eyebrows and hurled the fire god lotus in his hand at them. A tongue of flames darted at the 2 Dan realm fire demons. Growl. The 2 fire demons opened their mouths at the flame and swallowed it down into their stomachs. Wang Xian had a slight change in his expression as he slammed the fire god lotus at their heads. Boom. All of a sudden, 2 gigantic fiery red hammers emerged from the 2 fire demons' hands. They wielded the 5-meter hammers at Wang Xian. Wang Xian swung his hand as the radiance of the fire god lotus glowed to its maximum. A vast flaming lotus appeared in front of him to receive the blow from those gigantic fiery red hammers. Earth-raging flaming lotus. A hoarse and violent voice cut the air abruptly while the ground under Wang Xian cracked all of a sudden. Numerous huge flaming lotuses that were condensed from huge flames struck at him. Wang Xian was appalled. With a switch in his momentum, thick and heavy soil emerged. Suppressing earth. Immense earth dragon energy brought peace back to the earth again as an earth shield blocked the attack of the flaming lotus. Flaming sledgehammer. Another bellow was heard. Wang Xian craned his neck upward and saw 2 mega flaming sledgehammers coming down on him. Earth shield. He raised his arm. With a quaking of the earth, bouts of soil surrounded him as the immense earth dragon energy filled the air within a 5-meter range around Wang Xian. Boom. Booming sound was heard, and the earth shield before Wang Xian began to crack. Damn, are these the Dan realm fire demons? Wang Xian was aghast as he held the fire god lotus and staggered back. With a stern-looking face, he stared at the 2 fire demons. The 2 fire demons glared at Wang Xian with pitch-black pupils and flames exploding from their sockets. Earth-raging flaming lotus and flaming sledgehammers, all these are battle techniques. Wang Xian's expression sank with a mixed look. Given his current level 8 strength of a divine dragon, the maximum level that he could take down was level 12 in his human form and level 13 in dragon form. However, it was only pertaining to ordinary realms. If he encountered equivalent level existences that shared similar prestige bloodlines as him, it would be good enough to defeat them, let alone beating the higher level ones. Just like when he met Phoenix, level 8 was the maximum that he could go against. Besides, with the stronger opponents he encountered, the levels he could take down would drop. The fire demons were this case as their combat power was far beyond his expectation. 2 Dan realm fire demons were actually on par with him. That was to say, he could only take down maximum level 11 when confronting fire demons. In the face of fire demons, he was only able to take 3 levels higher than him instead of the 4 when in human form. If there were more formidable fire demons in the side hall, does that mean that I can't defeat them even when I transform into a divine dragon? Battle techniques, battle techniques. Wang Xian murmured to himself. The divine dragons had no battle techniques. In fact, they did not require one as a divine dragon was born to have first divine dragon transformation. As mighty as they were, all they needed was to practice 9 divine dragon transformations, and naturally they would reach the pinnacle of their race. The time used to practice battle techniques was better used in enhancing cultivation. However, some other creatures might be different as they had limited potential. Hence, they could only enhance their strength through various methods including battle techniques. With powerful battle techniques they could gain freaky superpowers. Powerful human relies on weapons to slay a dragon. If I have compelling battle techniques, I could easily exterminate these fire demons. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly as he swung his arm, tossing the fire god lotus aside. Even though I do not have battle techniques, I'm a divine dragon. Wang Xian's physique had a rapid change. An 8-meter-long divine dragon emerged as he suspended himself in the air, exuding a daunting vibe slowly. Roar. With a dragon bellow, the whole side hall quaked violently. Wang Xian slowly swung his tail left and right. Invincible aura loomed over the fire demons. Growl. As soon as the 2 fire demons felt the terrifying aura, they trembled and let out soft roars. Go to hell. Wang Xian made a swift move and appeared on top of the fire demons' heads instantly. Growl. The two fire demons raised their enormous flaming sledgehammers and struck him with terror. Boom. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claws and raked at the hammers. Ka ka ka. The compelling force swept the hammers aside as the dragon claws continued their downward ripping motion. As soon as the heads of the fire demons were torn apart under the mighty force of the dragon claws, two fist-sized fire crystals appeared before Wang Xian's eyes. He revealed a smile and restored himself to his human form, grabbing the two fire crystals with his hand. After turning into a divine dragon, killing the two fire demons was a breeze. With a thought, he put on the pastel blue uniform again. As Wang Xian surveyed his surroundings, he could not hide the thrill on the face. Treasures, so many treasures. He finally struck a fortune this time. With an arm swing, he put the spiritual flame ball on the wall. Lava ball, level 11. This lava ball is similar to the spiritual flame balls which I got previously. Wang Xian opened his mouth and brought out a dragon ball from it. The dragon ball immediately engulfed the lava ball. He looked around and chuckled. Chapter 476 Water and Fire Couldn't Coexist. Chapter 476 Water and Fire Couldn't Coexist. There are 20 inborn spiritual weapons. It's no surprise that he's a fire god known for his blacksmith skills. This box is full of inborn level metal. There's over 100 caddies of metal. These are level 11 weapons. A bow isn't bad either. This is a bloodline. The bloodline of the blazing flame bird. Some cultivators in Europe can devour bloodline, and this would greatly enhance his fire attribute energy. This is fire spiritual liquid. It's greatly beneficial for fire attribute cultivators. In the side hall, Wang Xian was searching through the treasures enthusiastically. Inborn spiritual weapons were the most common objects here. As for weapons which were a grade higher, unique bloodline or spiritual objects, every single item would be a treasure which many would fight and compete for. Why aren't there any sounds now? At this very moment, the group of 5 was looking into the side hall curiously from the outside. A while ago, those terrifying roars and auras had completely petrified them. However, those sounds were gone after just a few minutes. This made them extremely bitter. He might be dead, the young man commented helplessly. The girl in the middle also shook her head bitterly and said, "The fire demons in there are too strong. There's no way an ordinary Dan Realm expert could stand up against them. In fact, the fire demons are so strong that even 4 or 5 Dan Realm experts might not be able to do anything about them. However, we weren't placing all our hopes on him when we first decided to come. Let's use our plan," the young man said with a heavy expression. "Brother, I guess we should. The girl was hesitant. "Prince, take a look. Take a look." Suddenly, the other young man standing by the side exclaimed loudly as he pointed to the side hall. The others were taken aback and turned over. At this moment, the raging flames that had dyed the atmosphere red were gradually dissipating. Once again, peace returned to the side hall. In the peaceful hall, all of them could see a figure. That figure was none other than Wang Xian, who was still busy looking through the treasures. The group of young men and that girl looked at that figure in shock and surprise. How can this be possible? Those are fire demons that instantly killed the Dan Realm experts in our clan. When the young man saw the 2 gigantic corpses, his body was shivering. He managed to kill them. His strength. That girl exchanged glances with the young man and said, "How can he be so powerful when he's so young?" The 5 of them hesitated for a moment before entering the side hall. At this point, the side hall was in wretched shape. In the center there was a huge pothole. Around them, there were countless potholes that had been smashed by the flaming sledgehammer. Wang Xian lifted his head, took a glance at them and nodded his head with a smile. This? The group of 5 stared at Wang Xian blankly. The young man looked around and his attention eventually fell on a location to his left. At that place there was an incomparably huge metal door. The door was over a dozen meters tall and 7 to 8 meters in width. "That must be the entrance to the main hall," the young man whispered. He walked to Wang Xian and lowered his head respectfully. "Senior, we were blind to have misjudged your strength." Wang Xian chuckled nonchalantly. He looked to them before turning his head to the entrance of the main hall. "You guy would like to go in there?" "We have to. Senior, please help us. If we can really get in there successfully, All we want would be the holy water and the holy water scripture. As for the rest, those things are all for your keeping," the young man said in a solemn tone. "Oh." Wang Xian was slightly surprised by his promise. He had not expected the two fire demons to be so strong. If there was a stronger existence in the main hall, he might not be able to deal with it. If there are stronger fire demons in there, all we can do is to retreat immediately. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before answering. "If our plans do not work out, we could only retreat," the young man said with a heavy expression. "I would like to go take a look at the main hall of the god." Wang Xian's lips curved into a smile as he turned his gaze towards the entrance of the main hall. "It's better if the four of you just stay behind. You can follow me in," Wang Xian said to the girl. "This?" The young man was stunned and appeared hesitant. "All right." The girl nodded her head and continued, "Brother, it's all right. I can just go over with this senior." The young man nodded his head and gripped the girl's arm more tightly. "Let go take a look." Wang Xian walked towards the main door leading to the main hall together with the girl. At the entrance, Wang Xian realized that this was an incomparably huge metal door. He took a deep breath and placed both of his hands on it. The eyes of the girl were flickering as she stared into it agitatedly. She felt a little relieved. Ka. The large metal door was opened gradually and an incomparably huge hall appeared before them. At the center of the hall, a ball of flames was still raging. At the very front, there was a golden throne and a burning branch on it. "Who's the one disturbing the slumber of my master?" A low growl immediately attracted Wang Xian and the girl's attention. Wang Xian and the girl immediately looked over and saw a 10-meter-tall figure getting up gradually. Around him, there was a spiritual cabinet that was approximately 3 meters long and glowing faintly. A 10-meter fire demon. Wang Xian instantly turned solemn. This fire demon was completely different from those he met previously. There weren't any raging flames on him. Instead, he wore red fire armor and appeared more like a terrifying giant. He held a flaming sledgehammer in each hand and had countless fire crystals embedded in his body. His aura was totally well kept and one couldn't sense how terrifying he really was. The fire demon looked at Wang Xian and the girl and eventually stopped on the girl. His eyes flickered and a tinge of hesitation flashed in his eyes. The girl mustered all her courage and attempted to say something. "Annoying water energy. Don't taint the divine hall of my master." Before the girl could complete her words, the fire demon had picked up the water energy in them. A ray of light shot towards them immediately. Wang Xian was shocked. He waved his hand instantly and a thick water shield appeared before him. Bam! Bam! "This is bad." The ray of light penetrated the water shield instantly. Wang Xian was caught by surprise and could only retreat with the girl in his arms. However, a ray of light shot into his body directly. Wang Xian was shocked. He adjusted his constitution and the fire dragon energy in him instantly erased the ray of light. What the hell is that attack? How did it penetrate the water shield? The ray of light wasn't a scorching hot flame and disappeared in the blink of an eye into one's body with a stream of warmth. Wang Xian was able to erase it only by changing the attributes of his body. Arg. However, the girl in his embrace screamed out in pain at this moment. Wang Xian could feel the chill and heat swapping rapidly in her body. Shit. The fire seed that was being suppressed is triggered. Fire and water can't coexist. Chapter 470 Daughter. Chapter 470, Daughter. Dragon King, Prime Minister Turtle and the rest have not been revived yet in the Dragon Palace. Evening. Wang Xian sat by an outdoor restaurant near the beach and was talking to Emo Qinglong over the phone. Wang Xian had sent Emo Qinglong to the Dragon Palace to teach the Golden Swordfish race to read and speak, and at the same time, to check if the rest had been revived. The time required to revive them had exceeded his expectations. With the powers of the Soul Returning Branch and Dragon Transformation Pool, it would still take more time before they could be revived. There aren't any treasures in the Dragon Palace currently. Let's hope that I can get some on this trip to the Fire God's graveyard. Sitting by the restaurant next to the beach, Wang Xian looked towards the clear seawater some distance away. Before him, there were tourists from various countries in sexy bikinis playing by the beach. In the sea, a yacht steered by and left behind a long trail of white waves. Sister Lingling, you are so annoying. I want to go surfing. I want to go surfing. Have you forgotten that you almost drowned the last time you went surfing? You can forget about it. Just sit here, drink your tea obediently, and enjoy the sun. TSK. You. Oh. Wang Xian glanced over after hearing a conversation coming from his side. It was between two girls. One was a loli with two ponytails. Her clothes resembled those cosplay costumes and she looked adorable in them. The other girl was wearing a white skirt. Both of them were chatting casually. Wang Xian looked over with eyes of admiration. When he noticed that the loli was staring at him, he felt a little embarrassed and turned around. What's the matter, Xiaowan? You are finally at the age where you are interested in handsome guys? The girl teased Xiaowan after seeing her staring at Wang Xian. Sister Lingling. It's him. It's him. He's that uncle. Suddenly that loli pointed at Wang Xian and shouted. Oh. The girl by her side looked curiously towards Wang Xian. When Wang Xian heard the shouts of the loli, he also turned his head over. He raised an eyebrow and found them to be rather familiar. He's the one who raced with us. The one that rode a heavy-duty motorcycle. It's him. The loli exclaimed. The girl by the side pondered for a moment, turned her attention towards Wang Xian and was struck by a sudden realization. It's really him. You are that little brat. After the loli kicked up a ruckus, Wang Xian also recalled this little brat. He met her when he had just had the mysterious encounter. After winning a heavy-duty motorcycle from a guy, he encountered 3 sports cars. Those 2 girls were in one of the 3 sports cars. At that time they raced and crashed into a big truck after they went into the opposite lane. This little brat had both legs broken on the spot and that beautiful girl also suffered a huge blow to her chest. At that time he had helped to heal them. Who would have expected he would meet them here after half a year? Wang Xian's lips curved up slightly. He looked to the little brat and found her a little more attractive as compared to half a year ago. So my daughter is here. Yeah. How are your injuries? Wang Xian smiled, looked towards the slender legs of the loli and teased her. He still could recall this little brat asking him to call her mom if he had lost. After the accident, Wang Xian made her call him dad and this little brat did so while crying. The memories were still fresh in his mind. After all, she was the first daughter he had. You rascal. Seeing how Wang Xian was teasing her, the loli instantly fumed. She gritted her teeth and stared at him. She could still remember clearly that when she was about to fall unconscious, this guy made her call him daddy. At the thought of this, she couldn't wait to eat him. Xiaowan, don't be rude. The girl by the side pulled the loli by her arm and turned to Wang Xian. With a sincere voice, she thanked Wang Xian. I'm really grateful for your treatment last time. We heard it from the doctor. If it wasn't for you, we would have been in trouble. However, I'm really sorry about it. Because of our family matters, we had come to Dubai for treatment and didn't have the opportunity to express our gratitude. This, Senior, can you really calm the energies in my sister's body? The young man stared at Wang Xian fervently. Wang Xian did not answer him as he looked at the girl and knit his brows slightly. That fire demon gazed at that girl for a moment. But he spat out the word, taint, after sensing the water energy inside her. Did he sense her bloodline or not? Wang Xian pondered with hesitation. Let's go in and give it a try again, said Wang Xian to the girl on the floor after some consideration. Her? For a moment, the girl froze with a pondering look in her eyes. She gazed at Wang Xian before she nodded slowly. I sensed the fire demon's attention on me just now. It must have been my water attribution that caused him to attack me. I guess so too. Given your fire seed and your fire god bloodline, the fire demon should not be attacking you, Wang Xian said with affirmation. A servant for the fire god should not be killing his offspring. This was for sure. But, the water energy inside me. Leave it to me. Wang Xian laughed and carried the girl up. The girl was wearing thick, silicon material clothes. He could not feel or tell her figure when he picked her up. Half of her face was hidden behind the blue veil, concealing her appearance. The girl let out a soft moan with a face flushed with redness. Let's go. Without any further comments, Wang Xian walked towards the door of the main hall. A bout of flames rose from his body, wrapping the two of them together. Fire attribution. This. The 4 young men were shocked when they witnessed the flame rising out from Wang Xian's body. Rumble. Once again Wang Xian pushed open the door of the main hall. Damn you, insignificant thing. Don't interrupt my master's sleep. As soon as the door was opened, a fireball that contained immense daunting energy was hurled at them. With a change in Wang Xian's expression, a fire shield emerged in front of him. I am the offspring of the fire god. I have the fire seed of the fire god inside me, said the girl hurriedly as she hid her face in the chest of Wang Xian when she saw the fireball darting towards her. Sir Fire Demon, she is the descendant of the fire god. Wang Xian spoke immediately. She has an irking aura with her, the fire demon bellowed. I am indeed a descendant of the fire god. The girl turned to the fire demon and stretched out her fair arm and shot a drop of blood at the fire demon. The massive fire demon stared at the blood droplet that was flying toward him. He sensed a familiar vibe and twitched his entire large face. You're really the descendant of my master. Your fire seed has been activated. My master once said that his descendants would obtain his legacy only after the fire seed has been triggered. Otherwise, anyone who comes in here shall die. As he stared at the girl, fiery red radiance was glowing within the pitch-black eyes of Fire Demon. Please accept the legacy, descendant of my master. The Fire Demon slightly bowed down as he spoke to the girl. Chapter 478, The Wrath of the Water God. Chapter 478, The Wrath of the Water God. Legacy. The girl was stunned and looked in shock at the Fire Demon with her bright eyes. After which, she turned to Wang Xian and was clearly looking lost. The legacy of the fire god could help erase the water seed in your body. This is a great opportunity for you. Even Wang Xian was shocked. Looking at the girl, he explained it to her. The legacy of the fire god was undoubtedly the greatest chance encounter you could get in this world. However, the requirements for this type of chance encounter were extremely stringent. Based on what the fire god had mentioned, there were two requirements for one to inherit the legacy of the fire god. One of them was to be a descendant of the fire god while the other would be to trigger one's fire seed. If one was lacking in either of the two, he would have no chance at all. And there were very few people who could fulfill both conditions. Wang Xian carried the girl and approached where the fire demon was. His eyes were fixed on the 3-meter spiritual cabinet. The entire spiritual cabinet was fiery red and was made of fire crystals and metal. The spiritual cabinet wasn't a spiritual object and had no abilities. However, it was made specifically with inborn-level materials. Beside the spiritual cabinet, there was a set of old lighting equipment that was still burning. The fire demon stared at them. Perhaps it was because he had not interacted with other humans previously. Although the fire demon had gained sentience, his intelligence wasn't high. He was just like a robot. However, he had a learning capability that robots didn't have. That's the holy water. When the girl saw the other side of the spiritual cabinet, she was shocked to find a silverish-white porcelain vial. On the silverish-white porcelain vial, there was an extract engraving. Wang Xian looked at it and was shocked. Holy water vial, level 12. A level 12 holy water vial. Wang Xian's eyes beamed with fervor. However, he didn't move. When the girl inherited the fire god's legacy, most of the treasures would be his. The edge of Wang Xian's lips curved slightly as he looked at the spiritual cabinet. Rumble. The fire demon kneeled on the floor and pushed the spiritual cabinet aside. An old man lay in it. The old man looked like a foreigner and wore fiery red armor. In his hands there were objects that resembled the hexastar. From the appearance there was almost no difference. The only difference might just be that this hexastar was fiery red in color. Together with the hexastar was a red book kept inside a box. Fire God's Secret Book. Wang Xian lowered the girl gradually. Placing his arm on her back, he suppressed the water seed within her. The girl looked at the fire god in the spiritual cabinet with mixed feelings. He was her ancestor. However, this ancestor of hers was a blight in the history of her family race. The truth was he had humiliated a girl from their family. This was also the reason why she had the fire god's fire seed. When facing the deceased fire god, the girl felt exceptionally conflicted. The fire demon knew nothing about manners. Standing by the side, he said, "The blazing stars are objects required for inheriting the legacy. Hold them in your hands, trigger the fire seeds, and you can naturally obtain the legacy." The girl nodded her head as she stretched her hands towards the blazing stars. Bzz bzz. A blazing star seemed to have picked up her presence. It shook briefly and flew towards her directly. Ka. The blazing star landed on the chest of the girl. Instantly, all the clothes on her were set ablaze. Wang Xian frowned slightly. Her clothes were made of water attribute defensive materials. Water and fire would repel each other. She has quite a figure. SSS. A goddess? Wang Xian was dumbfounded. Perhaps it was because she had inherited the bloodline of the fire god, or perhaps she was just a typical foreign goddess. She was really tall, almost as tall as Wang Xian. As her hair was tied up, it had covered her body, and she even wore a veil, so Wang Xian had not expected her to be so beautiful. Based on a discussion he had with Wang Dehai in school, she was a de Yang Ma. Moreover, she was an extremely beautiful goddess. You don't look at me. When the girl felt the fervent gaze of Wang Xian, her weak voice resounded. Her voice wasn't compatible with her figure at all. Wang Xian rubbed his nose and turned around awkwardly. Rumble. Suddenly, the entire fire god's graveyard shook. Streams of fiery red energy swarmed in from 9 directions and gathered at the ceiling of the main hall. Wang Xian lifted his head and saw a huge spiritual flame ball above him. Body refining spiritual flame ball. It's at least level 12. Wang Xian was shaken. Rumble. At this moment, a loud boom reverberated as though a volcano had erupted. Boom. Suddenly, the doors of the other 8 side halls were smashed open and thick lava flowed in. The lava harbored immense energy and flowed towards the ceiling of the main hall. The lava gathered in the body-refining spiritual flame ball. Following which, a refreshing heat wave shot towards the corpse of the fire god in the spiritual cabinet. After which, they were transferred into the body of the girl through the blazing stars. What a smart fire god to come up with this method to pass down his legacy. How unexpected. When Wang Xian witnessed what happened, he was stunned. Legacy wasn't as simple as it may sound. If he had simply relied on the body-refining spiritual flame ball to cleanse the body of the girl, there would be a limit. Just like how he had once cleansed Xiao Ran's body and wasn't able to greatly increase his strength. However, if it was done through the blazing stars, there would be a medium. The effects of the medium would be similar to how they had used the aqua stars previously. It's no surprise he is a fire god. His great wisdom isn't what a typical genius could match. Boundless and incomparably immense fire energy. The entire hall was burning. Rumble. Outside the graveyard, sounds of explosions reverberated constantly. The entire island was shaking. What happened? What is going on? Why does it feel that the entire island is sinking? What the hell just happened? The door to the main hall is open. What's the situation? Could it be that someone has obtained the treasure of the fire god, or someone has entered the main hall? On various footpaths and side halls, the people from the 8 denominations and the rest who had entered the fire god's graveyard suddenly felt the entire fire spirit island shaking violently. All of them were shocked and alarmed. They stared solemnly but fervently at the large door leading to the main hall. The volcano of the fire spirit island has gone extinct. It has gone extinct. Something grave must have happened. Something grave must have happened in it. Those who had been paying attention to the fire god's graveyard were astonished. As they looked in the direction of the fire spirit island, their expressions were changing rapidly. Within the main hall, dense fire energy swarmed into the body of the girl while the body-refining spiritual flame ball cleansed her body. Wang Xian avoided looking as he observed the surroundings and eventually focused on the middle of the throne. The fire demon was right there, and thus Wang Xian didn't dare to act rashly. The strength of this fire demon was probably a lot stronger than him. It was especially so after Wang Xian saw the armor and weapon the fire demon was using. Clearly, those were forged specially for him by the fire god and would definitely be immensely powerful. As the clear flames flowed into the girl, her great figure was glowing in a faint red light. Currently she was just like a goddess of legends. It should be ending soon. After approximately half an hour, Wang Xian sensed the disappearance of the energy from the surroundings. He immediately looked to the ceiling. Even the body-refining spiritual flame ball is turning into energy. Wang Xian was taken aback. Although this amount of immense energy couldn't make her into a fire god, reaching the budding realm should be easy. As for whether she can reach the level of an immortal, it will still be dependent on her talents, hard work and luck. Growling grr. Ling ling. At this moment, a roar suddenly reverberated throughout the main hall. The roar originated from the body of the girl. It belonged to the water and was just like the sounds of a tsunami. As for that buzzing noise, it came from the holy water vial. Wang Xian turned his head over immediately and was astonished to see the stopper of the holy water vial being removed by itself. The vial of holy water rinsed the body of the girl. Water and fire can't coexist. This was the wrath of the water god. Chapter 479, All of these are mine? 1. Chapter 479, All of these are mine? 1. Wang Xian was not sure how strong the god was. But his inborn spiritual weapons already possessed spirits in them. The spirituality was interlinked, which made sets of spiritual weapons possible. Just as the water seed was about to be extinguished, it made the final struggle. The struggle drew the spirituality from the holy water vial. Both of them belonged to the water god. With similar spirituality, the holy water vial reacted to the holy water by instinct. When Wang Xian spun around, the bouts of holy water had already entered the girl's body. The holy water that entered her body was an azure blue color. This was not like adding oil to the fuel, but rather the water and fire were completely unmatched. Arg! The girl let out a devastating scream when the holy water entered her body. The water seed awakened and began to combat the fire seed again. The difference from just now was that both fire seed and water seed seemed to possess some spirituality as they began to occupy the body. For a moment her body turned red, exuding a burning glow. Subsequently she turned blue again. Oh gosh, this girl is quite miserable. Wang Xian had a slight change in expression as though he could feel two energies exploding at any time in the body. Once they exploded, the girl would no doubt be reduced to ashes. In the past, she had endured the torture of the fire seed and water seed. Now she had finally obtained the legacy of the fire god. Such an excellent opportunity, but no one expected this. One can imagine how domineering the strength of the holy water was, since it was contained in a level 12 spiritual weapon. That was the reason too that the water seed was revived, spurring another conflict between water and fire. The fire demon was standing at the side looking at the girl blankly. As a combat fire demon, he did not know what was going on and did not understand what changes she was undergoing. The fire demon could only stare at her with doubts. Wang Xian made a swift move and came to the girl. He placed his palms on her body. One of his arms was red while the other one was blue. He placed both arms on the back of that girl. Such tenderness. Her? She's alternating between hot and cold. As fuck. It's the grade 2 of fire and ice. Wang Xian had a dramatic mix of expressions. While he had turned into a divine dragon during the fight just now, his clothes were turned to ashes. Subsequently, he had been using his energy to wrap himself just like if had his clothes on. Essentially he was naked. Now this girl was undressed too. This was secondary. He would not lose control given his character. However, the girl was experiencing a grade 2 of fire and ice, alternating between hot and cold. This was not any ordinary fire and ice. It was the hotness and coldness coming from her body. As a result, it was Wang Xian's natural reaction to get hardened in between his legs as a form of respect. With both his palms at the back of the girl, it was not hard to imagine when a part of him became hard. Apparently, the girl sensed something odd from behind her, but the burning heat and the coolness distracted her from her thoughts. Damn, the energy in her body is beyond my control. Wang Xian took a deep breath as the look on his face changed slightly after sensing the energy in the girl's body. After receiving the legacy of the fire god, the energy that was cleansed by the holy water was no longer weak like before. It was not something he could easily control anymore. Gone, this girl is finished. What a waste. Wang Xian felt the massive energy in her inside. At this time the girl collapsed and fell on Wang Xian. She leaned on Wang Xian just like someone without a spine. Wang Xian slightly frowned and held her with 2 arms and 1 leg while he continued to think of solutions. What should I do? It'd be a pity if she died just like that. Besides, if she explodes in this place, the entire fire god's graveyard will be ruined. There go my treasures too. Wang Xian continued to look around his surroundings to see if there were any other spiritual items around. The fire demon beside him was useless as he could only watch blankly, wondering what was happening. Legacy, a medium hexastar. An idea suddenly struck Wang Xian when he spotted the fiery red hexastar pattern on the girl's stomach. The fiery red hexastar seemed to have merged with her body. Wang Xian looked over to another hexastar at the coffin. With an arm swing, the other hexastar was sucked into his hand. Followed by a swift movement, he enveloped both of their bodies with flames. "Throw your aqua stars in." Wang Xian yelled at the top of his lungs toward the side hall where he came from. While the other 4 young men were standing outside, waiting in fear, they were shocked when they heard Wang Xian's voice. Without any hesitation, they quickly took 6 hexastars and headed for the main hall. No entry. Knowing that they were a team with the descendant of the fire god, the fire demon let out a yell. The young man was shocked as he hurriedly threw the hexastars that he was holding. The domineering stance of the fire demon was suffocating them as they receded as soon as possible. Since the hexastars can convert energy, and the fire god thought of using hexastars to carry on with his legacy, then this method should work. But, forget it. Let's get her back on her feet first. Otherwise, I will also be implicated if she suddenly explodes. The entire Fire Spirit Island will be blasted off when these 2 domineering energies explode. Even I will sustain severe injuries. Till then I can't even get any treasures. Wang Xian pondered to himself as he took another fiery red hexastar in his hand. Blazing Star, Level 11. Be it Blazing Star or Aqua Star, they were made by either the Inferno energy or water energy. These energy crystals can enter into bodies. Wang Xian swung his arm and inserted the Blazing Star crystal into his belly, forming a pattern on it. Immediately, Wang Xian realized he could use the Inferno energy in the girl's body. These 2 blazing stars are a pair. So are these 6. Wang Xian swung his arm once again and inserted another 3 aqua stars into the girl's body. When the 3 aqua stars stacked together, Wang Xian also took another aqua star and inserted it into his body. The aqua stars, at their own specific positions, could significantly enhance their strength by multiple times. If they were not placed in specific positions, they could only mobilize the energy between the 2 pointers. Such a unique formation acted like an array. Buzz. When the aqua stars entered into both bodies, Wang Xian had a thought. Activate the medium. Energy exchange. Wang Xian tried to mobilize her water energy into his own body. As the energy surged, the water energy entered. Wang Xian suddenly thought of something. In the 5 elements, water feeds wood, wood fuels fire. When the fire circulated into the girl's body, the fire in her was transferred out subsequently. Fire forms earth, earth forms metal, metal carries water. The water went back to the girl's body. A perfect circulation. Given the fact that Wang Xian was a 5 elements divine dragon, he could create a circulation of energy within the girl's body. As long as the aqua stars and blazing stars remained in their bodies, the girl would not explode. Cold hot cold hot. Wang Xian realized that he could control the girl's temperature as he wished. The feeling? Besides, he realized something frightening. With this method, he was indirectly taking control of the girl's life. Chapter 480, All of These Are Mine? 2. Chapter 480, All of These Are Mine? 2. All it would take was a thought from him and the girl would explode from within. This was a rather terrifying thing as he had indirectly gained control of her. The transmission through the hexastar is really incredible. I wonder what kind of spirit array it used for the direct transfer of energy through the hexastar. Looking at the hexastar on his own chest, Wang Xian then turned to the girl before him. He patted the girl on her shoulders lightly and woke her up. The girl turned around, still feeling a little drowsy. The next moment, she checked on her body and instantly turned away in horror. I only did so because I'm out of options. Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders and covered his body in flames. The girl moved away from him and a small fire flashed in her eyes. When she looked at Wang Xian again, her face turned red rapidly. She turned around and her heart was palpitating violently. Greetings, master. At this moment, the growl of the fire demon woke the confused girl. The fire demon went down on a knee and greeted her respectfully. The girl regained her senses and looked to the fire demon. You may get up now. Yes, master. The fire demon stood up and remained stationary. She felt the changes in her body and was completely astonished. There's nothing else I can do. I believe you will know the consequences if you choose to remove the hexastar. I'm just going with what I can. Speaking of which, I have saved your life. Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders and spoke with a smile. What are your plans now? The girl took a deep breath and asked while still shivering a little. Nothing? I'm only here to seek treasures. Now that you have inherited the position of the fire god, I'm fine with all the treasures. Wang Xian said heartily. With regard to this girl, he really did not have many feelings. Naturally, he was excluding natural instincts. Other than these natural urges, he didn't even know the name or the age of the girl. There was no way he could develop romantic feelings for her. It wasn't that he was against it. It was just that he wouldn't make it past Lan Qingyue and Guan Shuqing. Now that Sun Lingxiu was staying with them, Lan Qingyue and Guan Shuqing could tell his relationship with her clearly. This matter wasn't settled yet. If he was to get involved in other matters, his harem would be in real turmoil. The girl was taken aback by Wang Xian's words and shock was written all over her face. She waved her arms and lava flowed out from the surface to envelope her. Looking at Wang Xian, she took a deep breath. I have to take away the fire god's secret book, the holy water scripture and the holy water vial. As for the rest, you can have them. What do you think? Let me make a copy of the fire god's secret book. Wang Xian nodded his head and answered. The main reason he was here was for the fire attribute cultivation arts. Moreover, Wang Xian was curious about the fire god's secret book. The secret book of the fire god would definitely have incredible battle techniques and attacking moves. He was eyeing it closely. Only I can view the fire god's secret book. Others are not allowed, the girl said to Wang Xian. Huh. What about the holy water scripture then? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. The holy water scripture is a secret long held by my clan and will never be disclosed to outsiders. The girl looked a little bitter as she continued, as for the other treasures, you can have them all. Let me see what treasures are around first. Wang Xian didn't agree. Looking at the fire demon at the side, he walked towards the throne. The girl glowered at Wang Xian before conversing with the fire demon. Wang Xian moved his arm and a shield flew into his hands from the side of the throne. Colored glass shield, level 12. Even a level 12 shield was placed casually. Fire god Hephaestus was a really powerful blacksmith, Wang Xian sighed. He turned around and looked at the girl. All right. Where is the fire god's art of weapon refining? It's in the fire god's secret book. The girl lifted her head, looked at him and answered coldly. Explain the art of weapon refining to me, Wang Xian replied with a smile. After which, his attention turned to the location directly above him. At that place there was a branch burning. Looking at this branch had jolted his memories of the progenitor tree and soul-returning branch in the Dragon Palace. This branch is constantly burning and seems to have endless flames. Wang Xian stared at the branch and information appeared in his mind. Boundless branch? Level? Boundless branch. It's another unique tree branch. Wang Xian was shocked and reached out to grab it. Wang. A unique energy welled up in his body and the boundless branch flew into it to his astonishment. Wang Xian didn't attempt to stop it. As the boundless branch entered his body, it disappeared instantly. In the Dragon Palace a far distance away. Above the dragon throne, the jade-green progenitor tree started swaying a little. The soul-returning branch shifted slightly and another branch grew beside it. This branch was emitting a weak and faint flame. Wang. The entire Dragon Palace seemed to have experienced some changes. The fire divine dragon head on one of the 9 pillars beside the dragon transformation pool lit up. Following which, the entire fire divine dragon glowed faintly and appeared as vivid as it could on the pillar. Wang Xian wasn't aware of the changes to the Dragon Palace. As he felt the branch disappearing in his body, he had some understanding in mind. Progenitor tree. The progenitor tree once grew in his body and had since seen him as its master. This branch was similar to the soul-returning branch and must not have been growing on the progenitor tree. At the thought of how incredibly strong the soul-returning branch was, this boundless branch would definitely be terrifyingly incredible. Wang Xian continued to look around and gather the treasures together enthusiastically. There were over 50 inborn spiritual weapon or even stronger weapons together with a ton of spiritual grade metal. The materials required for upgrading the Dragon King Hall to level 2 were a ton of spiritual grade metal and 10,000 spiritual stones. Now he had finally gathered the metal required. The Dragon Field required 1,000 inborn spiritual weapons. There should be approximately 1 to 200 inborn spiritual weapons in the entire Fire God Palace. Wang Xian was exhilarated. He looked towards the side hall and his lips curved into a smile. All these are mine. Wang Xian looked towards the middle of the main hall and found the girl and the fire demon lowering the spiritual cabinet into the depths of the lava. They were sending off the fire god. This, pretty. Wang Xian didn't know how to address her as he looked at her. He smiled and continued, "Can I trouble you to bring all the treasures from the other 8 side halls to this place? At the same time, please instruct the fire demons to help me kill a few people." When the girl heard his request, she lifted her head, looked at him for a moment and nodded her head. "Great. Kill all the people from the nether flame. Thank you." Wang Xian chuckled, moved to the girl and thanked her by clasping his right fist with his left palm. "Tsk." The girl seemed a little angry as she turned around and ordered the fire demon to start the purge. This was the fire god palace and the territory of the fire god. Now that the fire god palace had a new master, those intruders should now be kicked out from the place. Chapter 481 Four Wives. Chapter 481, 4 Wives. Run now. The fire god is infuriated. All the fire demons in the side halls are raging. They are not supposed to come out of the side halls, but now they are rushing out from them. On top of that, there are even more terrifying fire demons. I guess we have disturbed the spirit of the fire god for the past few days such that all the fire demons in the fire god's graveyard are on a riot. The entire fire spirit island was seething with all the 8 denominations who had entered fire god palace rushing out in terror in the middle of the night. All the fire demons in the fire god palace were rampaging as they killed anyone they saw. It was utterly terrifying. There were more than thousands of fire demons, over 20 Dan realm fire demons, and a 10-meter horrifying existence. With such a strength, it simply overwhelmed all 8 forces on the spot. All these fire demons were so frightening that they surpassed all the 8 denominations as a whole. God damn it, why do these fire demons keep chasing us? What? All the Nether Flame experts were appalled at the spot that Nether Flame denomination occupied. 4 Dan realm experts with over 40 inborn experts, marking half the strength of the denomination, were over there. Nether Flame denomination originated from Korea before it developed to a supreme class existence of Asia. Yet they were facing 8 Dan realm fire demons assaults with horrifying looks. These Dan realm fire demons were extremely scary. Not only did they possess domineering defenses, but they also had the compelling flaming sledgehammers which were daunting battle techniques. One fire demon could single out 3 to 4 Dan realm experts. Yet, they were wanted by at least 7 Dan realm fire demons and hundreds of inborn fire demons. Desperation and fear shrouded them. Growl? While the group from Nether Flame fled desperately, the ground in front of them began to crack. 2 daunting Dan realm fire demons wriggled out from the underground lava, staring at them with murderous intent. Die. They let out a human voice and lurched at the Nether Flame gang. No. All of them let out agonizing shrieks. They were the first to discover Fire God's graveyard. Yet, none of them had expected that they would be wiped out at this place. The entire Nether Flame strength was cut in half. Run, get out of here now. At the same time, the other 7 denominations were making their escapes in horror. They frantically scampered out of this hazardous land. After all, this is the grave of a god. We have interrupted his sleep and angered him. None of the average men can resist the rage of a god. One by one the various forces fled out. They hovered in the air as they watched the fire spirit island, giving off a red glow while cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. Such compelling fire demons. When all the fire demons sprouted out of the entire fire god palace, Wang Xian could not help but gasp. Thousands of fire demons with inborn strength, more than 20 Dan realm fire demons, plus 1 budding realm fire demon. Such domineering strength was much more compelling than Dragon Sect. Wang Xian stared at those fire demons with flickering eyes before he turned to the girl who was surrounded by lava. Her fiery red hair was over her shoulder, forming a ravishing profile. Unfortunately, her perfect figure was wrapped in the scorching lava. Wang Xian rotated his pupils with flashing red and blue radiance. Her? He sensed a death stare darting at him. Wang Xian blinked his eyes as he did not expect that she could sense his gaze. Help me gather my treasures. I'm taking a rest and I'll be back tomorrow to collect it. Wang Xian smiled at her as he made his way to the exit. The girl gazed at Wang Xian blankly as she let out a sigh. So many experts around. When Wang Xian stepped out of the Fire God Palace, he scanned the surrounding experts that were hovering in the air. Surprise took over his eyes. There were about 400 experts, of which over a score of them were flitting in the air 1,000 meters above sea level. That marked the existence of the Dan realm. Given the strength of Dragon Sect, we could only be ranked as second tier if we compare ourselves to the foreign supreme class forces. The Dragon Sect that had brought upheaval to the underworld only had 50 inborn experts. Besides Wang Xian and the other girls, the most powerful Mo Qinglong had yet to advance to the Dan realm. Compared to the fire demons in the Fire God Palace, they were still a far cry away. Back at the renowned hotel in Dubai, Wang Xian was lying on his soft and comfortable bed. He had no worries about Fire God Palace since the life of that girl, who was the successor of Fire God, was now in his control. Hence, none of the treasures would go missing. Sister, you actually obtained the Fire God's legacy. At this point in time, four young men looked at the girl with disbelief as they came into the main hall in the Fire God Palace. Brother, the Fire God Palace was the legacy of the Fire God right from the start. But the condition to inherit it was quite stringent. The girl looked at her brother and forced a smile on her face. Great, it's the Fire God Palace. Our reputation and power in Dubai will be greatly enhanced. No one in all of Asia will dare to provoke us, said the young man with shortness of breath and eager eyes. The fire demon will obey my commands, but I... As the girl spoke, she touched the hexastars at her belly and hesitated. What's wrong, sister? Oh, where is that powerful senior? The young man was looking around elatedly, failing to notice the strange look on his sister's face. He went back. He should be coming back tomorrow. The girl hesitated before she replied. Apart from the holy water scripture, all the treasures in this place belong to him. This, all for him? The young man looked around and nodded with heartache. The next morning, Wang Xian woke up and headed to the hotel restaurant in high spirits when a middle-aged man dressed in white odd-looking attire walked over. Sir, this is for you. The middle-aged man must have been a Dubai native, as only the natives would wear such an outfit. Curiosity piqued as Wang Xian looked at the slim book that the middle-aged man handed over. Who gave this to me? Wang Xian took it over and had a look. By order, it's a secret. The middle-aged man shook his head slightly, bowed, and took his leave. Wang Xian took the white-colored book to the restaurant, found a seat near the window, and ordered his food. What is this shit? Dubai women prohibiting intimate contact with men as chastity is very important. The beauty of the girl can only be revealed in front of her most beloved person. The girls in Dubai are extremely loyal, while men can have 4 wives. Looking at the introduction of the book, Wang Xian was speechless with the nonsense. He flipped to the end of the book and discovered a signature. Sign off, Hertha Mohakabin Sesid Alajaya. The signature was even written in Chinese characters. Chapter 482 Surfing. Chapter 482, Surfing. The name of a foreigner is really long. Wang Xian chuckled upon seeing the name before leaving the white book at one side. The entire book had a detailed introduction to the females of Dubai, the rules of Dubai and some rules that applied to the royalty. Wang Xian didn't know who Hertha Mohakabin Sesid Alajaya was or the purpose of her sending him the white book. Could it be this is a trick from Mu Shaowan, the little brat? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and found this to be highly likely. At this moment, within the Fire God Palace on Fire Spirit Island. In just a night, the entire Fire God Palace had undergone huge changes. All areas that were damaged had returned to their original state after the lava flowed past them. A girl was sitting on the throne in the main hall. Her dressing today was completely different from the previous day. In her exquisite fiery red dress, she personified nobility and a fire goddess. Her nobility and beauty made one want to look up to her. The first queen in history was just so. Below her, an old man in a white robe stood before the middle of the main hall. He looked at the girl on the elevated platform with surprise and solemnness. Ajaya, since you have made the decision, I won't be adding much. However, I hope you will remain and station yourself in Dubai. The old man in the middle looked at his daughter on the throne as he remarked. Rest assured, father. The Fire God Palace is still here and I won't be leaving. It wouldn't be convenient for the fire demons to leave this place either. Ajaya looked at her clanmates before her before looking up. Now this is the only option. Moreover, that guy is pretty strong and quite a nice guy. Ajaya looked at the clothes she was wearing. She had broken free from the constraints of her family completely. Perhaps this type of clothes is more in line with the general census for aesthetics, she thought to herself. At the thought of the incident the previous night, her eyebrows knitted together and her face was flushed. Ace, you are really slow. I've been waiting for half an hour. When Wang Xian walked down from the hotel, he immediately spotted Mu Xiaowan pouting and grumbling unhappily. Today's weather is a little cold. Let's find a place for a sunbath. Feeling the cool wind blowing, he teased her. How can you do this to me? I've been waiting for you for half an hour and even got my surfboard ready. When Mu Xiaowan heard Wang Xian, she instantly felt wronged. She pointed to the surfboard beside her and was on the verge of tears. All right. Let's go surfing. Let's go surfing. Wang Xian immediately changed his words and stopped teasing her. That's better. I'll show you how great I am at surfing in a while. Mu Xiaowan chuckled happily. Pointing to the surfboard she said, Take that along. I'm too tired and you are a gentleman. Wang Xian smiled speechlessly. He turned to Tang Lingling and asked, Aren't you going to join? Perhaps not. I'm waiting for someone. Tang Lingling shook her head. Wang Xian nodded his head, carried the surfboard and walked to the beach with Mu Xiaowan. Let's go. The little brat carried her surfboard and went straight into the water. Mr. Wang, please help to take care of Xiaowan, Tang Lingling reminded Wang Xian. After giving her a reassuring hand sign, Wang Xian picked up the surfboard and walked towards the water. Surfing was a popular sport overseas. There were lots of people surfing around them. There were people from both genders. Some moved up and down along the waves and looked extremely cool. Wang Xian had not surfed before. However, this didn't mean he wouldn't know how to. The truth was that all he had to do was to place the surfboard on the water and he could move out like a rocket. Simple water manipulation would enable him to do so. Mu Xiaowan, the little brat, lay on the surfboard and tried to paddle with her hands. One could easily tell she knew nothing about surfing and was simply playful. Wang Xian stepped onto the surfboard and moved with ease. What was a little frightening was that he was moving against the direction of the waves. Wang Xian controlled the surfboard and made it turn around that little brat. Haze, is this your level of skills? You can't make it. Wang Xian smiled and said sarcastically. Wow, you are really good. Seeing how cool Wang Xian was when moving, Mu Xiaowan was a little dumbfounded. I guess I'm still fine. Wang Xian chuckled joyously. As the incident of the Fire God Palace had ended, he could have a day or two of good rest before returning. Quick, teach me. I want to look as cool as you. Mu Xiaowan exclaimed at Wang Xian. Come, let father teach you. Hold my arm. Wang Xian smiled and moved through the waves while holding her. This made Mu Xiaowan extremely excited, and she even forgot about Wang Xian teasing her. Tang Lingling is here too. Just as Wang Xian and the little brat were playing, they saw Tang Lingling entering into the water with a few young men. Those are some of our friends in the country. Their families have businesses in Dubai. One of them is even a big star. Mu Xiaowan pointed and smiled. One of them is Sister Lingling's boyfriend. As for the rest, they are all perverts. I still have a month till I reach the legal age and yet one of them tried to woo me. He should be given the death penalty. The little girl grumbled. Wang Xian chuckled. Now that you guys are living in Dubai, are your family businesses doing well? That gigantic mall right there was built from the investment from my family, Sister Lingling's family and the families of those young men. We have invested over tens of billions into it. I'll bring you there tomorrow. If you come to Dubai in the future, follow me and you will definitely get to eat the best food. The girl patted her flat chest and spoke proudly. This little girl was pretty cute but her figure was bad. She was more lowly than a typical lowly. Brother, I saw that you are great at surfing a while ago. Come, should we go to deeper waters? Four youths approached Wang Xian on their surfboards and one of them spoke with a smile to Wang Xian. That's the pervert. Wang Xian could hear the little girl speaking softly, and nodded his head with a smile. Come, brothers. A young man raised an eyebrow at him and the other young man in front of Tang Lingling was clearly her boyfriend. There was another guy who was rather known and looked extremely gorgeous. In other words, he was a star from Korea who didn't have the capabilities to remain there. All right. Wang Xian didn't reject him. Xiaowan, why don't you get on my surfboard? You must have heard about my skills. It would still be absolutely safe with the two of us. The young man with short hair said to Mu Xiaowan. It's all right. I'll just go with this uncle. Uncle is pretty good too. Mu Xiaowan looked at him and raised an eyebrow. What do you think? Just get up, my dear daughter. Scumbag. Are you eager to die? When Mu Xiaowan heard Wang Xian, she kicked him furiously right away. Wang Xian immediately grabbed her by her arms and put her into the water till the water was at her waist. If you are going to continue kicking, I'm going to release my hand. Scumbag. Again? Wang Xian loosened his grip. Wah, I'll stop. It's my fault. That's better. Come, let me bring you surfing. Wang Xian laughed loudly and pulled the 80-catty girl up. Beside them, the face of the young man with short hair instantly darkened upon seeing them. The young man beside Tang Lingling whispered softly into her ear and she replied to him softly. Calling him daddy. How uncouth. The young man snorted. Tang Lingling rolled her eyes and remarked, he saved our lives and is the benefactor of Xiaowan and I. Don't be rude. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.